Hello and welcome to the Contenders Trials Europe, Middle Eastern and Africa. It's opening day and the circus is ready to dazzle you good folks out there. So come on, come all and step right up and bring your family. Today we have some fireworks coming out for you out of the gate. Incognito will be taking on a Vox Nihili, and following the parade is Ex-Oblivione as they try to match around and march to Shoes Monicrew's beat. I'm the Olimancer, your clown for today, and with me is the Ringmaster of the Grandmaster, the Trapeze Twirler of Tier 2, and the human cannonball for one and all, the incredible, the wonderful Dryad. How are you today?
Hey, Ollie, I'm doing really good. Really excited to see those matches today. Like you were mentioning, we're going to be starting with Incognito against Vox. So it should be a really good match for us. A lot of energy. A lot of teams trying to figure out the meta right now. So we are going to see a lot of that. If they're going to mirror, if they're going to counter it. So many possibilities for today.
A lot of possibilities indeed. Now, for the people out there who do not know about Incognito, people like me until yesterday afternoon, I have to say. It's former CBA. They basically swapped out most of their roster. The only veterans from CBA in there are Wicked and Sobek. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this new dynamic. How do you think that will affect the gameplay of Team Incognito with so many new players?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we need to be on the lookout for coming into this match. Maybe not having enough time could affect them, but then again, doing all these roster changes definitely means that they're trying to improve and do as best as they can. And like I mentioned before, I think it's going to be interesting to see what composition specifically they decide to play and how they pick these players, because there's been a lot of conversations about what is best to play right now. Blizzard has been doing a lot of updates recently, and it challenges players to make the changes to adapt to anything that happens.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing seeing how the how especially these teams are going to find the new right-click options for the Torbjorn and the Roadhog. So for the people who don't know, what has happened is that there has been a change in the way that the pellets spread, and that has increased or reduced the damage of the shotgun pellets depending on how you use them, provided we're going to get to see at least the Roadhog here. So I'm looking forward to setting that in. However, first of all, we're going into Control, we are going into Ilios, and we are going into Ruins. So I'm looking forward to seeing these two teams clash. On the side, of course, of Incognito, I'm just going to give you the quick roster. Yelma, Wicked, Koaksu, Tsuya, Orang, and Sobek. And of course, on the other side, on the Vox Nihili side, we have Alex, Vendetta, and KZ, 30 Ping EU, Nat, Froakie, and Theomatic. So no surprises, at least on Vox Nihili's roster right there. So,
yeah, and also no surprises on the meta that we are seeing. They're going to be playing the Sombra, so building that EMP is going to be essential for these teams. And also for the other DPS, seeing the Reaper coming from Vox, it's going to create a lot of damage into the tanks for Incognito.
well, if they can get close enough, because it will be hard with Tsuyu actually on that Torbjorn. So, yay! A lot of luck for that one. Now, Theomatic moving forward. We see Vendetta already looking for a couple of targets. You see a very explosive start coming out of Vox Nihili, immediately pushing Team Incognito back. They want the opportunity and the room to actually capture that point.
Definitely creating a lot of space, trying to get the capture of the point as soon as they can. And now the fight is now over, though, because there are so many players left for Incognito. They need to make sure that they're able to kill them, or they have to regroup as fast as they can. Ideally, you do want to win this fight so you can build your ult so much faster. So at least they get the control, and now they really need to group up and work together to get it.
That's right, and KZ once again finds the turret for that Torbjorn, making a little bit of room here. And it does look like Incognito are having some trouble moving in. Alex with the EMP hits 3 of them, and Nat and Theomatic immediately are able to capitalize on that one. And that was a beautiful coalescence combination with that EMP, because at that point you are naked and without any defenses.
Absolutely, and being able to engage with this coalescence as well as EMP is going to benefit your team so much. You're now at 50% on the time bank, so not looking bad at all. But now you do need to watch out for the EMP coming from Incognito. It's going to be a risk, and there you go.
That is right. The sound barrier is out, though. That wasn't part of the plan. Froakie was able to set it in, and right now, while Incognito are in control of the engagement with that Primal Rage on Wicked side, it could have been a lot worse. Froakie and Alex still around, so there is some room for them to at least try and stall this out with 73% on the point. Right now, there's the flip, but at the end of the day, the EMP worked. However, I would have liked to see, Kruxu looking more actively for Froakie. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. And the EMP works perfectly to win this team fights, but now you really need to figure out how you're going to approach the next one that's coming as well. You do have the Shatter, even though it might not be a strong ability. If the team is able to capitalize on it, it's going to help them so much coming here.
Molten Core is coming out. Tsuyu with a nice double kill. The Shatter does not find a lot of opportunities, and Tsuyu is an absolute beast now, just chasing NKZ back to their spawn. That was a beautiful play, a nice defensive action here, and we'll see how it works out.
The EMP should be coming maybe a little bit sooner, so this is going to be a really interesting engagement. Who is going to be able to use that EMP? And it seems like it's going to be Alex very early on, could win them the fight here.
He is looking for it right now, waiting for a bit of an opportunity. Gets the hack off onto Yelmo. There is a Death Blossom coming out on the side of Vendetta. Does not really find a lot of targets, and now this could be the opener. But right now, Alex, very, very conservative. There's the EMP on the other side. Kruxu sets it up. There's a sound barrier coming out, and Incognito still in control. The Diva Bomb with a double on that setup. So this fight is just using ults on both sides more or less simultaneously. But right now, Vox Nihili have come out on top of that one.
And a really, really good fight. They don't use the EMP as early on as we were expecting, but that's just more than enough for them to win the fight. They play very, very aggressive and pushes Incognito to the back where there's absolutely nothing they can do now. 99%, this is last fight for them.
99% indeed, last fight territory. There's a sound barrier coming up from Vox Nihili, and now Team Incognito with that Molten Core. Though Tsuyu and Wicked both already go down. The overtime wick already running. Yelmo is caught out there, and there's the Death Blossom from Vendetta just killing out Sobek, and that is round one. A very hard-fought round one, but nonetheless going to Vox Nihili.
And I absolutely love the strategy that we saw from Vox. And that EMP that we were talking about, the reason why we didn't see Alex use it very early on was to able to counter EMP, which is not the easiest thing to do because you need to try to locate or know where the other Sombra is going to be. And it wasn't the fight-winning ultimate, but it was more than enough to disable a few players from using the abilities, and that was just more than enough. Now coming into this map, I'm very excited to see. It seems like they're going to be running the same composition, so it's a matter of who is able to build this ults first and who is also able to get the most value out of maybe a single Death Blossom.
Well, I have a question about you regarding that, right? What do you think about reactive EMP? So waiting for the other EMP to hit first rather than being the first one to strike it. Is that a good or a bad thing to do for a team?
It could be really, really good. It's going to help them so much, but it's not easy. So taking that risk means that you need to be really confident, not only in your team, but also in your Sombra. And just also being able to track when the EMP is going to be ready. So there's a lot of
Oh, Vendetta doesn't make it out. Actually does with a great teleport. That was a beautiful setup. That just meant that Vendetta was staring into the abyss, ports out. Vox Nihili already had the first two picks, is able to take the point, and now the fight continues. That was great.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite things to see about Reaper. It's happened over and over again throughout the meta where we've seen it, Reaper. It is just so exciting, but in the meantime, Vox is taking the advantage. They're trying to get some ults as well, and those supports should be able to keep the team alive for now.
That's right, Vendetta goes low for a little bit, but immediately butts head again with Wicked, who tries to find an opening in this enclosed space. Gets slapped down, though. Right now, the Coalescence coming out from Nat, and there is a nano boost out from Orang. I don't know who it was onto at this point, but Wicked seems to be finding Theomatic, so I'm guessing it's over there.
And you mentioned those ults are being used and is not going the best right now for Incognito. And once again, they do have that EMP ready while Alex doesn't have it just quite yet. So if they're able to take the advantage from it before Alex is able to get it, would put them in a huge advantage into the next fight, and they're able to capture the point.
It's 62%. They don't have a lot of time on Incognito's time, but Kuruksu has that EMP, is in the back line, now goes for it, waits for the sound barrier and has it down. That's 4 people in the EMP, and that could be a good starter for Incognito, but Tsuyo goes down over there. Yelmo tries to roll in, gets stopped, and is immediately taken out of the commission. So it is 84%, and Vox Nihili with that routine comp and this routine lineup of their players is just making strides at this point. Remember, Alex still has that EMP, and that could just get big. There it is, just trying to make sure that none of the offensive plays that can be played here on the side of Incognito can actually get down. The overtime wick still running right away as Theomatic swings his hammer around, and Kezet with a nice double kill just confirms 2 of them, and the overtime wick is still running. There's the Diva Bomb, just takes Orang, and this should close it out here.
What an amazing performance that we just saw from Vox. Over and over again, taking the advantage, playing really aggressive before Incognito was able to do this. And that just puts him in a really good position every single fight. That EMP, that was the best opportunity Incognito had at the end. Unfortunately, did not get any value. And the opposite side, it actually, for Vox, it worked so well because they were able to build the ults that won this map. So absolutely amazing job that we've seen from them.
The ultimates were absolutely map winning. You are so right there. And what I need to point out here, though, is the great tank lineup. And Kezek and Theomatic are doing a fantastic job on Vox Nihili's tank side. Especially Vox recently lost Jaru, and Theomatic, who has been around since August, with this team, is now just showing up, showing why they should be there, and they're doing a great job. We see not a lot of flashy plays, especially from Theomatic on that side, but he is making a lot of space, and KZ's double bomb, well, it would have been play of the game if we were able to show it.
Yeah, it was really good, and that's especially why Incognito has to figure out a way that when you get that EMP, when you use that EMP, you need to hack the tanks, because not only they're amazing players on the side of Vox, but also just puts you in a really good position if you're able to get at least the tanks, even if you don't get the supports, even if you don't get the DPS. The main thing a Sombra should be aiming for is getting this highs on these tanks that have so much HP and they can put so much damage through. So being able to stop this as soon as you can, being able to build that EMP fast and make sure that you're not getting counter EMP is the best opportunity that Incognito has. I'm curious to see if they're going to hold this composition throughout the maps that we're going to see, or if maybe it was something that we saw in Ilios, but from what it seems, it's something that they want to keep playing.
Yeah, that could very well be, especially as we are apparently loading into a Volskaya Industries. So a lot of the same strategies must be working here that have been working on Control. But looking at Incognito didn't really have the opportunities, especially in the second round, of getting onto point. Now, if you were their coach, what would you tell them to change? What would you want to see in order for Incognito to actually have success on Volskaya Industry?
Right, so the main concern that we see is that Vox is being the aggressor even when they are playing a defensive and when they're holding a point. So if you let them play aggressive and push you to the back, there's absolutely nothing you're going to be able to do. If you know you're going to be having that ult advantage, you need to make sure that you're able to use it before Vox realizes this and tries to counter you as soon as they can. So that's the main thing that I see from them. They do have the right idea on how to play the composition. They do have the best understanding on what heroes they want to play, what heroes they feel comfortable in, but it's so much about who gets the first pick.
It is, and I am very, very excited to see what's going on. QRXU now this time on the on the Ash right there. A bit of a long-range setup compared to especially Vendetta and Alex, still, like you said, unchanged. How's this going to play? As long as Incognito can stay away, they're going to win? How do you think this is going to play out?
Yeah, the Ash and Mercy duo is usually really, really good. You're able to put so much damage through, and especially because the DPS lineup that we see right now from Vox doesn't really have that range that you would want to have. We do see at the end Vendetta is going to be on the Tracer, so that could be a really good way to counter it. But the main thing is trying to take control of this high ground and push the Ash down. Once they're able to do this, it should be an easy job to capture the point.
That's right, now moving in, Wicked jumping in and away from the opponent at Fox Nihili. They are going across the skywalk, trying to make sure that they control that high ground before engaging. Vendetta and Alex, both of them lurking, looking for an opportunity. Wicked going down as Alex jumps in on the backside there. QRXU this time, though, equalizes onto Nat, but that will not help as NKZ and Vendetta find their respective targets. Vox Nihili in control of this first set. And look at Theomatic, jumps in onto Sobek and QRXU, and doesn't even need a long time to clear both of them out.
And here is you start seeing the difference between these two teams. Vox always playing so aggressive and getting value out of it every single time. Sometimes teams decide to be more aggressive, but unfortunately it doesn't work for them. But for Vox, it's worked amazingly. They do have this dive, and the two tanks are going to help them out. Try to get control and try to scout, which is the ideal situation for them. They have so much time, and this could be the potential snowball that we always talk about.
Well, the potential snowball is being set up right now. Vendetta moving in on towards the backline. Needs to pull back with that recall, but Theomatic has no chill. Jumps straight in, but gets caught out by Yelmo. Vendetta as well. Yelmo now with a double kill. And we do see Alex trying to build up that EMP quicker and quicker. But right now, Incognito, of course, have the advantage of point B here on Volskaya, but they're doing a great defense.
They're holding a really good defense, like he mentioned, and also you're going to have Bob available. So in case one of them gets picked, you can just simply throw the Bob into point while everyone is able to come back. So they're in a really good position to hold here, but once again, you do need to watch out for Alex, that EMP coming through at any point, and that is going to enable them into the next fight. It's just, if you're able to get that EMP into Ash before Bob comes out.
Now moving straight in, there's a sound barrier, EMP to follow up. Vox Nihili wanted and wanted bad. Vendetta finds Wicked in the backline as Alex goes down. There's a Diva Bomb up in the air, doesn't really find a lot of targets there on Yelmo's side. NKZ and Theo both still have their ultimates, but it does not look as if they're going to press this charge as Vendetta goes down in the Tracer fight, and it looks as if Incognito have got Vox Nihili on the run.
And this is not the worst fight for Vox because there were so many ults that were used for the side of Incognito. So that's going to help you out coming through into the next fight. You're going to be having Primal Rage, that self-destruct as well, that works really well into point. So just being able to come in to do the dive, ideally get the Ash, should be good for them.
Alex going down quite early here, doesn't really get the opportunity to recharge that ultimate. Tsuyo looking for more as he once again goes toe-to-toe versus Vendetta. And we do see a nice high ground setup. Yelmo and Wicked are just waiting it out. Vox Nihili a little bit hesitant to go into this, but now the ball has started rolling. Theomatic gets that Primal Rage in there while Wicked has to pull back. Theomatic wants to make space for that team and jumps into the backline, but it misfires. Bob comes out and QRXU and Yelmo just clean up. QRXU gets 3, actually 4, and is looking for number 5 with the help of Tsuyo. And Vox Nihili back in the drawing board.
And we do just see this Ash doing an amazing job overall. Always putting so much damage through, also with the help of Sobek on the Mercy, helping so much with the damage. That is benefiting them so much, holding this point that they had 5 minutes before for Vox. Now it's only down to 2 minutes 45 seconds. So it's not looking as good. They are struggling a lot. They can engage with these coalitions coming through. But once again, their rotation that they're making is going to be important, making sure they're not getting picked by this Ashe.
Yeah, it's halfway around, and it is something I've touched on briefly. QRXU can do all these things because there's so much room. Now the coalescence is coming out. We do see a bit of a tight mind. Theomatic and Yelmo are fighting it up on that high ground. Alex has to pull away, but Vendetta comes in, takes Yelmo out of the shell, and then takes it out. QRXU reciprocates, of course, but NKZ with a double kill gets both of the healers out, and this is looking good. Fox Nihili back in the driver's seat. Theomatic with a double kill. Now fires that Primal Rage. There's an Eva Bomb up in the sky. Finds Froakie. That could be a potential disaster, depending on how good the respawn advantage will be for Incognito. Right now, though, 2/3 have already been capped. Nat with a double kill. The capture looks more and more likely right now and should be coming anytime soon. As soon as they can get rid of Yelmo. Coming back in, though. Froakie going down after being pulled up, and that is it. Round 1 complete.
So much going on into this last fight. That was so interesting to see how both teams decided to adapt, and you see Vox finally able to get the point once the Ashe is down. That was putting so much damage for them. QRXU has done an amazing job on this hero. I really expected to see it also if they decide to go with Ashe on the attacking side, but so far in the defense, it held them and he kept them on the point for as long as they could. Unfortunately, once we see the Mercy and the Ashe taken down, there's absolutely nothing they can do, but they have a really good opportunity. They're looking so much stronger with this composition.
This is an absolutely nice series so far. You already said it's going to be a really good game, and both of these teams are giving us some really good Overwatch. On paper, this may be a clear-cut thing, but Incognito, they have shown us in that second point defense that they can be quite aggressive. Now, if they bring that aggression over, this might just get interesting.
Yeah, and it really just depends on how much value they're able to get out of the heroes and the DPS that they're playing. Ideally, you just want to get that pick very, very early on with the help of your Ashe and your Tracer. Once you're able to do that, you have the confidence that you can simply push in. But for them, it's also going to be important to try to push the high ground, try to push everyone from Vox to the low ground. So there's absolutely nothing they can do, and they can simply try to have a snowball potential that unfortunately didn't work for Vox, but it could work for Incognito.
Now moving in, 3 minutes 50 on the clock. Incognito looking for an attack. Vendetta with that sneak. Look at that. He's in that corner, waits for the entire team to move in. And now Theomatic and Vendetta have a lot of fish in a very tiny barrel. And that didn't go the way that Incognito planned it.
Theomatic has been consistently good on this. Every time you know that they're going to play more aggressive, you see this Winston diving and effectively being able to keep himself alive with the help of the rest of his team. Just getting those early picks, and that just it makes everything so much harder for Incognito. They have the opportunity to go again, but you know this dive composition from Vox is going to play so aggressive.
Again, the corner set up as Fox Nihili comes around the corner. This might just work. Vendetta just charging them back. Yelmo gets called out on the robot side. Theomatic wins the toe-to-toe versus Wicked, and that means once again that Incognito should at least regroup before trying to move in. NKZ, though, goes down as Suyo is moving in with that Tracer. Beautifully played.
Yeah, and this is a good opportunity, but unfortunately, you know the Fox is going to keep playing so aggressive over and over again.
Vendetta with a great quadra kill on the back of that ultimate. Theomatic just clears it out, and it's 2 minutes and 20 on the clock.
And this is not only just absolutely amazing for the facts that have gone through for Vox, but also the EMP coming through, that Primal Rage, that should just be more than enough. You also have Coalescence if you decide to engage and play aggressively again. So it's just looking so good for Vox.
Moving in, Theomatic looking for more right there. The Primal Rage is already moving, and the rest of Fox Nihili are just moving back in the wake of that. Beautifully dealt with that Bob, and he is going for more, and he is actually able to confirm a triple kill. That is crazy. When you get to play the monkey that well, someone should put you back in the zoo.
It has been amazing, and it just seems like Incognito doesn't really know what to do about the Theomatic, but overall they really need to figure out a way to counter him, to take him down. You know you're going to have the support just being there for you, so that's why it's going to benefit them so much.
Sound barrier was already out here for Vox Nihili. Tsuyo goes down in the backside, and they are able to clear the point. Vox Nihili still trying to push some more into it, while it is Incognito who do feel the heat. That is a beautiful bomb with a double setup. Very highly launched there, and it is Stay Elbit to get both Wicked and Sobek. It is 1 minute on the clock, and Incognito need to figure this out. I need to figure this out quickly.
Incognito started losing their momentum right now. They haven't been able to figure out how to counter Vox, and this is going to be really hard. Only 45 seconds left for them, and a few ults are going to come through. You ideally want to use that collision from Nat early on, try to get those picks and guarantee your win, but so far it has been amazing performance from them.
Once again, moving in, Theomatic has another ultimate. Vendetta fires in one of those Death Blossoms to clear out the starting area. Basically, they just want to make sure that no one has any ideas of even getting close to the point. There it is. The Primal Rage has been concluded, and Theomatic comes down, gets QRXU, and is now just camping main spawn. Those Fox Nihili pulling back a little bit, but this should not matter with 10 seconds on the clock, unless Incognito has a special weapon that we haven't seen just yet. Moving in, Wicked and Yelmo on towards the point. The overtime Wick now running 1 versus 3. Froakie in a bit of trouble, but immediately gets healed there. Nat is in control of the engagement. The Diva Bomb coming out is not able to find a lot of targets as NKZ wins the fight against Yelmo. Sobek gets Wicked back up, so this fight is not entirely over. Diva Bomb over the side gets Tsuyo, and the overtime Wick is still running. One person of Incognito on this point. Wicked has that Primal Rage, finds 2 of them, they're clutching it out. I can't believe it, but it looks like they will not take enough on the full hold. Not even Theomatic on that Wrecking Ball will stop it.
What a fight that we just witnessed, and finally Incognito is able to get this first point. It took them so long, and I was so concerned for them because they had so many ults incoming that they were able to use at the end that enabled them to take the victory into this first point. But now you use everything, so it's going to be more time spent trying to build this ults, try to play more aggressive, especially knowing that Alex is going to be having that EMP.
Oh, yep, and immediately uses it. 5 people are affected. 2 of them already down. Yelmo and QRXU look a bit taken aback right there. But Alex with a defensive EMP knows that he can, A, build it up quite quickly. And secondly, 220 seconds still on the clock. That is just an EMP that you can use for an action like that.
Yeah, and also coming into the next fight, the advantage once again should be going for Vox. They have a few ults incoming as well, so it should help them out so much to try to hold it and try to at least make sure that Incognito has less time, and then that would put them in an ideal situation. Very important to see their rotations, and if we can see Ash once again getting value.
That's right, Tsuyo gets hacked and immediately is taken out by Alex, probably got out of position. Theomatic holding that high ground, making sure that that window is not of opportunity. So a Vendetta just trying to wave it in here versus Wicked, needs to get out for a second, but has that Death Blossom ready. That could potentially put a wrench into Incognito's play right there. Vendetta looking for a couple of targets, but is not entirely convinced that the density that he's looking for is the one that will actually fire his ultimate. Tsuyu and Wicked good ultimates both, good kills both of them as QRXU and Tsuyo now start finding their targets. They're onto the point. The first third has already been capped here as the 2 versus 2 on the point is now being established. Look at that. Incognito, they will just not give up. The Diva Bomb is encased in a Winston bubble immediately after being dropped. So that was a good move by Wicked, who at the end of it all goes down to Alex. Oh, there's the EMP coming in. Once again, Incognito have been caught hands down because of some electronic malfunction right here and are needing to pull back as Theomatic launches that Primal Rage and make sure that the rest of Fox Nihili can push out. It is 30 seconds on the clock here, and while they have capped 1/3, they have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and Vox was able to win that fight only with the EMP. They were looking that they were in so much trouble after the first pick was taken from them, but that EMP getting 4 of Incognito was more than enough for them to take control again. Now, really hard position for Incognito to try to do anything. They have a few ults incoming, but it just doesn't seem like it will be enough.
There we are moving in with Tsuyo. He was trying to get out on that one and looking for NKZ once again. Just get that Diva out of commission. Now Yelmo in a fight versus Theomatic. Yelmo seems to be having the upper hand. Theomatic goes down and Tsuyo makes sure that it is actually happening that way. The overtime wig once again running. It is 3 people on the point and the 3 of them are green. That is a problem. While the EMP once again finds 4 of Incognito. This time though, they're not giving up their space. They're not giving up the room that they have fought so hard for. Tsuyo is in that backline, tries to get Nat down, who is very, very low. QRXU and Orang helping it out on the sidelines. It is 2 versus 2 on the point. Tsuyo finally down right there as Alex comes in with the Tracer. Vendetta now swapping over to a Pharah to try and get some dominance on not only the air, but the round, and that is it. That looked like they weren't going to be able to make that, and they pull it out. I mean, the time difference, all right, 1.5 minutes. That's a huge amount of time difference. But the way that they did that and the fact that they did it is still very impressive. Tryout.
Yeah, what a fascinating fight that we just saw there. And it happened once again. It not only happened when they were trying to get first point and they were going in overtime, but also in the second one, where they were able to build those ults a little bit too late. So that means that the overtime is where they take the advantage. And this has been working out for them, but they did go into overtime, so that's going to put them in a big disadvantage coming through, especially knowing how well Vox was doing in the defense. So it's not the ideal situation, but you're happy that you can make it to at least another round here and do the best that you can. And a lot of aggression and the ults that we saw coming from Incognito was the best opportunity for them to take the victory here. But it's not going to be easy.
It's definitely not going to be easy. 1 minute and 37. I would say the only chance that they have right now is QRXU building that Bob fast enough to hold point A for a long, long time.
Yeah, that could be one of the opportunities, or just making sure that your dive can be as effective as possible, making sure that the tanks are being aggressive. This is one of the things that we were discussing on how much you want to play really, really aggressive, even when you are defending. So this is the best benefit for both teams to take the victory here.
Oh, once again, up on the shed, up on the high ground, but moving straight in is Fox Nihili. They want to take the touristic route over onto the balcony. QRXU gets the first blood onto Vendetta. Wicked moving in and actually find some value, killing Nat outright, just trying to make this time bank as small as they can possibly do it. Yelmo onto Theomatic here, and Yelmo is looking for more. This Wicked who cleans it up on Froakie as they come to help out, but that first attack was already worth a lot of time. 40 seconds left on the clock, and it is not even close to being touched.
Really good start from Incognito. They were finally able to get those early picks that put them in an ideal situation. Now, only 30 seconds left for Vox to see if they can take the advantage, but not if your Lucio gets taken down.
That is right. Orang was able to get the complete on that one. Tsuyo now finds Vendetta and once again wins against him on that Tracer. I'm really impressed by Tsuyo's Tracer play so far, I have to say. Has to pull out there, and it is looking as if Vox Nihili are trying to get out of that hallway for now. Theomatic doesn't make it. Bubble or no bubble, that means trouble. NKZ up on that high ground now is trying to touch that point, needs to get pulled back. Yelmo makes sure that that is happening, and it is a Diva Bomb coming in from Yelmo that clears Vendetta and NKZ out. The overtime wake is running. It is 1 versus 5 on point. Alex, no chance of making it through there or even weaseling some time out, and that is that. That is a draw.
A draw is something that we don't see very often in Overwatch, but every time it just brings so much excitement. You never really know what was happening. Once again, Vox had a huge opportunity to take the victory there, but once again, Incognito realizes that they have to play aggressive, that they have to make sure that the tanks are diving and scouting. That's just more than enough for them. They're able to hold it, and they do an amazing job.
Yeah, and we do see some great ultimates coming out on both sides, and both of these teams are just giving it their all. It took a while for Incognito to find their stride on this one. Why? Why is that?
Once again, once they were able to take the advantage coming into that third round, it was because one, you saw Vox going into that room where we know there's not much space for anyone to go anywhere, and the tanks decided to dive as well as the supports, and getting those early 2 picks that we see at the beginning was a lot of time that was consumed for Vox, and also a lot of ultimate percentage that Incognito was able to get. So once again, it was only 2 fights opportunities that they had, and they lost them. So once again, Incognito just looking so good so far, but Vox taking the advantage.
They're definitely taking the advantage, and you are right. What I absolutely loved, though, is how we had Theomatic in the first run through just play the absolute main role, just going in there with that monkey, making some after getting that banana, and then it just turns around. As soon as you let QRXU stand somewhere on the high ground, they're just going to get it done. And let's not even talk about Tsuyo. Tsuyo on that Tracer is a secret weapon if I've ever seen one. That is just crazy play. And Vendetta, as good as he is on the Reaper, as good as he is on other heroes, in Tracer, he will not be able to get that done.
Theomatic was definitely one of the heroes that you just couldn't look away from, because he was everywhere on that Winston, just getting so much damage on, killing everyone, not only on neutral, but also with the Primer Rage, getting so much value out of this hero. And this is not something that we see quite often. You see certain players being really good at a Reinhardt, even in Orisa, we've even seen players being good in Sigma. But when you see a player that's so good at Winston, that's going to help you so much, especially on the map that we just saw. Now I'm very curious going into this next map to see what if we're going to see more of this Winston and how much value he can get again.
Well, we are loading into Numbani. That means a lot of high ground. That means a lot of jumping opportunities from unexpected angles, and that means that you can just basically do whatever the hell you want. You're a Winston, right? So I'm looking forward to the Winston versus Winston fight. It's not meta for nothing, I'm afraid. What I would be more interested in is whether or not we're going to see some proper snipers this time.
And I'm curious that we didn't see it in Ruins. Actually, that was one of the things that I was expecting. When you're coming into Ilios Ruins, you are definitely expecting to see an Ashe or a Widowmaker being played. Sometimes teams even decide to play both. So not saying this means that teams maybe are not going towards that side of the meta or that composition that they want to play. And it just seems like it might be the case for Numbani. More of a dive that we might see, and it seems like this is what teams are more comfortable with.
Now moving in, they have the Pharah Echo to set it up on the high ground on Incognito's side. QRXU on the Echo and Sobak on that Telltale Mercy. So I am interested to see whether or not that will give them an edge over especially Alex, who has been a great Sombra so far, as they come around the first corner.
Yeah, so a lot of patience. You need to really know how to play smart and try to take the high ground if you are attacking. There's the best opportunity that you have to take the victory here. Ideally, you don't want to give up the high ground like we were talking about, because then you know the DPS and the tanks from the attackers are going to take so much advantage of that.
That's right, NKZ and Theomatic trying to set up a front line in order to prevent Incognito from pushing in. Now, QRXU up in the sky tries to make sure that the airwaves are clear. Nat is on to Orang, so that may be a bit of a problem for Incognito, and we do see that fight. Suyo gets NKZ, and Theomatic stops the rest from Sobek. I don't know why Sobek was trying to get in there, but there was a monkey in the box. You don't jump in the box with the monkey. That's just not something you do, especially for a rest like that. But beautifully played nonetheless, and we see a nice capture from Fox Nihili here. And the payload is free. Let's see what happens once it starts rolling.
Thematic again, just does it over and over again. Plays so aggressive and also has the support of his team to be there for him to keep him alive. So it's just been absolutely amazing to see this player every single time. Now, like you mentioned, the advantage should be once again coming for Vox. He played so aggressive and got that fight won so early on.
Moving in for more Vendetta, looking up to a QRXU, is able to set it up, is not able to stick that bomb onto Orang, and Theomatic with that Primal Rage once again makes a lot of space in combination with Nat's Coalescence, just is charging after after the Diva on that set. Yelmo needs to pull back, and Vendetta in the meantime is in the backline just taking them out. Vendetta and Alex, once you give them the space, and that is exactly what Theomatic is doing, they have a playground right there. Just take away your DPS, take away your healing, nothing else.
And I absolutely love that you say how Thematic is making space, because many people, and when they're playing competitive and you hear someone trying to make space, that's not a good sign. But for Thematic, over and over again, just absolutely amazing performance. Now they have an advantage. EMP coming through. They should be able to win this.
Moving it in, Froakie onto Yelmo, set up Theomatic with a nice kill onto Wicked. Vox Nihili are still making a lot of space, setting up a lot of those pressure plays, and I am afraid Incognito do not seem to have a full handle on how to work it out, especially with that moving payload. They just don't seem to have the tools to deal with the way that Vox Nihili don't not only want to play, but force Incognito to play.
They are taking control over and over again. They're looking like we saw them on the first map and the first round that we saw on Volskaya playing so aggressive. Once again, huge advantage from them over and over again. And the ults that are being used for Incognito doesn't seem to be enough.
Now moving in Nat with another one of those coalescences. Vendetta already has that sticky bomb onto Tsuyo, and this is not looking good right there. The Diva bomb just being used as a bonus here, just to clear that point out. No one able to touch, and that is just parking lessons at this point. Round 1 complete, and we're going for the swap.
4 minutes, 8 seconds for Vox. That was absolutely amazing. We didn't see teams doing so well in Numbani very often, but them just taking control of every single fight is the ideal situation for them. They're looking so strong. We talked about Thematic, we talked about Alex, about Vendetta, about every single of these players that have done an amazing job so far. This puts a lot of pressure into Incognito trying to play the attackers now. It's not going to be as good as they would want it. They really need to try to push it to as much time as they can, but just 4 minutes, it just seems like it's going to be impossible to mirror.
It is going to be at least interesting to give it a throw. We don't know yet what kind of DPS is coming out of the ladies and gentlemen of Incognito, but they do have some time, of course. Not a lot changes on the side of Vox Nihili, Froakie, and Nat on Lucio, and the Moira that is unchanged and definitely expected. The same goes for NKZ and Theomatic, and Alex and Vendetta on that very fast backlaner combination.
So yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of interesting combinations that we're going to be seeing as well. Curious if we're going to be seeing the Echo. It seems like it's always such a risky play, and you can get picked very early on. But very good Echo players can get so much value out of it. This is something that I really want to expect from Incognito, from QRXDO, and just playing aggressive, taking the advantage of this hero, getting the high ground as well.
QRXU now coming in with a bit of a longer off angle here, trying to make something happen to get that ultimate as soon as they can. Goes in with that laser and is able to get that Froakie down together with Yelmo. So that was a good little jump tactics from Incognito, who are immediately moving on to point. Tsuyu on the Doomfist is at least able to get Vendetta off their case as Alex goes down. Beautifully set up play so far from Incognito, but it's not over yet. Vendetta onto Orang, and NKZ in the sideline gets Sobek. No more healers for Vox Nihili, and that means that there may just be enough. Sorry. For Incognito, and that may just mean that Vox Nihili has the room to actually come back, and it does look like it.
It definitely looks like it. They were struggling a little bit, but then taking control of the situation over and over again. One of the main concerns that I have is seeing that Incognito is going to be on the Doomfist. It is such a risky play. It can work out trying to get the supports, but you know, the Lucio is going to get the speed, and Moore is going to be able to just fade away, so it's not the best pick that I would have for this.
Moving in with the Coalescence, it's not trying to make an opening. There it is. The copy comes in, and there's another Winston up on the point. QRXU looking to get that primer range as soon as they can, but Alex has that EMP. Who is going to pull their button up first? Let's see what is happening. There it is. The primal rage comes out from QRXU, but the ultimate is already over, I believe. And this is Vendetta. Vendetta looking for more targets, has Orang very close. There's the EMP, gets 3 of them, and that means that QRXU is already down. Sobek and Yelmo, both of them in trouble. Beautifully played by Vox Nihili. It is still not over there though. 1 versus 2 on the point right now, and it could get up to a 2 versus 2. Vendetta has that pulse bomb, looking for a couple of targets. Is unable to set it in for a while though, and now Yelmo holding that point as both of the balls are just dangling about that big payload. Vendetta and Froakie find both of their targets, 1 minute and 20 on the clock, but once again, Vox Nihili come out on top of this engagement.
And what a good comeback the Vox is able to get. They were struggling so much, it seems like they were going to lose the point, but they don't give up. You do have the Lucio that's going to give you speed as much as you can to play aggressive, and you're able to do this. Yelmo was going into the wrecking ball. It does have Mind Kill, but on this point, it doesn't really get as much value as you would expect.
Moving in yet again, QRXU has that laser up yet again, gets NKZ out of the mech and closes it out in one go. Vendetta finds Yelmo somewhere off the screen right now, but it is an interesting way to see how QRXU is just moving in with that Echo and getting so much value out of it. Another EMP coming out of Alex, and that is 5 out of 6, and that's only because Yelmo is coming back from spawn. Incognito once again underestimated the way that this engagement was going to go, as Alex in the backline is able to get Tsuyu off the line. Wicked jumping back in onto Vendetta, finally closing it out. The capture is still there, but it is going to be a very close fight with 10 seconds on the clock. This is going to be another overtime engagement, and once again it is Incognito trying to push it further than I would give them credit for in the first place. Alex now comes in quite cheekily on the sideline, is very close to a new EMP, but finally Yelmo gets him down, and this should be the cap for Incognito.
And, you know, this might be just a strategy from Incognito, getting the point right when it goes to overtime. It just seems like it just puts more pressure to them to try to take the victory, but again, they're in a big disadvantage coming through, knowing that Vox was able to get 4 minutes left. So a lot of aggression is going to have to be played, and this is a good way to start as both tanks diving into the back and getting so much value.
That's right, and there it is, the Primal Rage moving in. Incognito is not done yet, as Wicked has put it as his life's work to get this payload at least towards point 2, making a lot of space. QRXU gets NKZ called out on the sideline yet again, and this payload is not stopping for now.
And we're in a position where I really want to keep seeing this aggression and this dive that is working so much better for Incognito. I like seeing the Wrecking Ball. It seems like playing it so aggressive for them is the best opportunity that they have so far. But once again, Vox is trying to contest the high ground. They want to take it, and they will.
Oh, another EMP coming straight in. There's a sound barrier that is immediately fired afterwards. So both Alex's EMP and the sound barrier no longer on it. There's a Diva bomb as well from NKZ. Doesn't find a target. Immediately countered by a bomb by QRXU actually on the Echo copy. The pulse bomb from Vendetta rings through, but right now Incognito just marching on and hoping that they can have enough time to close this one out. Suyo now gets one healer, looking for more. Froakie goes down to Yelmo, and it is Alex trying to hold back that cap while he is waiting for Theomatic, who just jumps in. Theomatic now onto Sobak, gets them down. That's a pulse bomb that gets both him and Theomatic down at the same time. But I think that actually works out for Vox Nihili because Suyo has been such a menace on that Tracer.
And over again, you just see Vox trying to do everything that they can to push it to overtime again. Seems like they should be able to do this. You once again have your supports ready, and a few ults coming to Nano as well, and points. So much aggression coming from there. They don't want for Incognito to take any farther.
Oh, there it is. Another Primal Rage coming out of Theomatic, but there's a minefield as well out of Yelmo, who immediately gets hacked out. It's 1 minute and 30. There is the cap, and they made it in overtime yet again, even though Vox Nihili threw a lot of mud at that wall.
Yeah, once again, and it was just the last second, but we see Incognito is going to be struggling so much here. 1 minute and about 5 seconds that they have left. They do have a duplicate, so maybe getting into one of the tanks is a really good chance to win the fight, because this is definitely last fight territory.
Now moving in, a Coalescence coming out from Nat. Nat is just lasering it out, and Alex has that EMP yet again. Will he once again use it as this aggressive defense they have used? There it is! Immediately, the moment the touch is real, they are just able to get it done. Alex had a great position there in the backline and makes sure that the entirety of Incognito have no legs to stand on. Good Diva Bomb follows it up immediately as Vendetta finds QRXU in the side lane once again. And now look at Vox Nihili pushing it in all the way to spawn door. That's a bit of a BM from Vendetta right there, just hogging that spawn door for a little second as another fight breaks out between Theomatic and Wicked, who just comes out of that Primal Rage. It is merely 5 seconds on the clock, and I do not think that Incognito can pull this from the dead a third time in a row, especially since Suyo goes down to Nat on that sideline. Another Primal Rage. Theomatic trying to just boop them away. Sobek with the touch attempt is unable to finish it out, and that is it. A good map win for Vox Nihili here.
What a good performance from his team in every single fight. And you know that last fight was definitely won by that 6-hack EMP that we saw at the end. The entirety of Team Incognito did not have any abilities that they could use for just a few seconds, and Vox took such a good advantage of that. I really like seeing the aggression, and Alex over and over again getting those hacks, getting those EMPs is one of the best plays that we've seen so far.
Yeah, no, that's definitely right. Look at that. I can see the cards from here, and what we can see is Alex had 26 targets EMP'd. 26, even in the best type of situation. That means that he had at least 5 EMPs up, and that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I love that kind of play. The dominance that we have seen, well, I wouldn't say dominance because Incognito was able to claw themselves out every time, but Vox Nihili make it look a bit easier, don't you think? It's a tad lopsided right now, so Incognito need to step it up, and I think they know that they need to step it up. So I'm looking forward to see how the next map is going to run out. What I wanted to ask you, looking at both teams, your favorite players on both sides.
Well, for Vox is definitely Thematic has had such a good performance that you really like seeing the tanks being highlighted more often, because sometimes you have to play with your team, but seeing this Winston also play so aggressive has been absolutely amazing. Alex as well on the Sombra, and I think QRXU has a big opportunity. When we saw it on Ashe, it was a really good performance from this player. It was just he was getting directly countered because Vox knew exactly what to do, exactly how much damage this Ashe could put through. So he's definitely my favorite player from Incognito, and I think he has the opportunity to come up on top coming into the next few maps. But so far, Vox has been so dominant over and over again.
Okay, those are very good picks, I have to say. On one hand, you took my Thematic. On the other side, while Thematic is very, very good, I think NKZ, he confirms kills, goes after a lot of those sideline plays that Incognito keeps trying to set up, and is able to get some really, really cool bombs up. NKZ doing a fantastic job, so my shout out from my side to him from right here. On the side of Incognito, yeah, I mean, the DPS, we don't have to talk about them. The tanks, a little bit less dominant, or a little bit less visible as the ones on Fox Nihili's side. I think my favorite right now, Orang. Orang has been healing so much, has been healing such a great amount of, not just in numbers, but whenever you think, okay, Incognito, they are absolutely done. There's nothing they can do right now. It's Orang keeping these people alive and keeping them fighting on. And I have to say, keep going with that, because it's looking absolutely fantastic. We are loading into Dorado now, and Dorado will give us, well, more of the same, not really, because right now the fight is, apart from point A little bit more flat grounded, at least theoretically, at least more traditionally. And I'm looking forward to see whether or not we may at least see some changes in the tank lineup for Incognito.
Yeah, this might be one of the best opportunities that they have. I actually did like seeing Yamo on the Wrecking Ball. It's not very often that we see this hero have a lot of opportunities, especially because you were playing against a Sombra. But he made it work for a good part of the map, and it seems like he was feeling very confident on this hero compared to the other heroes that we've seen. So I do want to see him more often, and if we could see the Ashe coming from Incognito again, I think that would benefit them so much, especially when they're going on the defense. So far, it doesn't seem like that's what we're going to be seeing. Forcing this Echo, not ideal in my opinion. And Alex, over and over again, picking Sombra is going to put the opposite team in such a disadvantage when you don't have another Sombra that's going to EMP. We saw it at the beginning, we saw it in Ilios, but now we're not seeing it in Dorado.
Now we will be going out of the gates right away, and we do see Vox Nihili on the attacking side yet again. This time the Discord Orb may actually make it a bit harder to get the same level of tempo up that Vox Nihili by now may actually be comfortable with or actually be used to. Tsuyo has that turret up on the high ground right now as Incognito get ready to face the music, or at least face their opponents. Alex on the side is looking for that Echo and is looking for that Mercy. Gets a lot of material done while hacking Wicked down. Beautifully set up. It's going very low though. Now Vendetta goes low, needs to pull back because they have tried to fight Wicked, who has just been getting healed out whenever they go in and out of trouble. Beautiful setup here. Vendetta still not done, as the rest of Vox Nihili are now just inching ever further with that payload and are trying to get at least one of those venues cleared so they can make something happen.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Vox has been playing so well. Again, I do like seeing Vendetta and how aggressive he plays. He doesn't let anyone take the high ground from them, but now they have to back up a little bit. And this is where the trouble starts. That EMP is going to be ready for Alex in just a few seconds.
Vendetta tries it yet again, has that pulse bomb, has it built up. Will he try to keep moving on Wicked, or will he actually move forward and get into that backline? We'll see in just a minute, as Alex has a hack and is ready, but there's the Molten Core coming out from Tsuyo. Tsuyo going down immediately afterwards though, so while the floor is lava, we do see that the volcano itself has been taken out. That's a good try at the pulse bomb from Vendetta, is unable to close it out. The minefield from Wicked gets Nat on the sideline, and this time it is looking as if Incognito have been bunkering down and are able to hold this back for a bit. 1 minute and 50 on the clock, and this fight should at least take another 10 seconds before it reads.
Another 4 hacks for that EMP that Alex was able to get. So that's where you start seeing the biggest difference between those two teams and how aggressive they decide to play. We saw Sobek trying to engage with the Valkyrie very, very early on, but unfortunately for them, it was just way too early and it didn't get any value. Now, taking, once again, the control, so there is something to highlight about these two sports that have done an amazing job so far. In the meantime, so much trouble that we see for Vox.
Nihili trying to move in yet again. There's a Diva bomb flying up and over. Finds Tsuyo's turret and is actually able to help Alex getting Yelmo out of the mech. Alex finds Sobek on the sideline though. Vendetta goes down early to Tsuyo, and this is not looking good for Incognito as Nihili once again put up the pressure. 55 seconds on the clock, and there's the cap.
But I believe Incognito has been doing an amazing job so far. They were struggling right at the beginning. They took control again. And the ultimates that they were using look so much better compared to what we've seen from them in other maps. Unfortunately for them, though, the advantage should definitely be going for the advantage the Vox has. They have EMP, so you already know they're going to be engaging with this, as well as Nat's Coalescence, which, talking about that, they have been amazing every single time.
Moving in this EMP, that was beautiful. Once again, 3 people affected. Tsuyo already going down. Yelmo in trouble as QRXU had the opportunity to actually go into that Echo copy. So that is beautiful. Gets Nat out of the way, looking for more targets as that pulse bomb, and is in a fight versus Vendetta. Is unable to get that pulse bomb landed somewhere now. Has to move away as NKZ is pressuring them out even further. Vendetta and Alex in the meantime take away the entirety of Incognito's playbook. Nihili are not faced by whatever they have been thrown at.
And also a few ults that were spending by Incognito, so that doesn't put them in the ideal situation. They keep using ults before the fight starts, and that is a very risky play for them.
Yelmo and Wicked make a bit of an opening right away just to get the defensive bet. Set up yet again. Vendetta on the sideline in the bank, needs to pull back, had already used that recall and now needs to regroup with the rest of Nihili, and they're doing just that as they move to the back of the courthouse.
And I was also talking about that they were finally able to take control, so Incognito looks so much more even in this map. Once again, they do have to watch out. Alex only took him 1 fight to get this EMP that's going to be right in the next few seconds, and the primary rage as well.
Now Alex onto Orang. That's a good hit. Vendetta maybe a little bit too easy trying to get that pulse bomb in, but hold that thought while there's another EMP coming out of Alex. Wicked in trouble, Sobek in trouble, both of them down, and Yelmo follows into the abyss. Nihili should have no trouble parking this in front of the power plant, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
And the ult economy for Nihili over and over again just looks so good. They know exactly what to use. You usually see that EMP and also that Qualis is coming through. Then you're going to be seeing that Primal Rage, sometimes a Pulse Bomb, and lastly you see that Self-Destruct as well as a Sound Barrier. So they really know how they want to use it. They are playing it very smart. A lot of synergy that goes through for this team to get this.
That Torbjorn turret keeping the hallway clear. I like it when the only one trying to push through is Vendetta. NKZ with a nice bomb that was beautifully set up. Nat on that Coalescence immediately fires up the Sobak. The laser is there to take on Incognito. And this is just a very bad engage for Incognito to play. I think they might have just miscalculated that point.
It just seems like there was some miscommunication going on for them, and unfortunately for that, they take a few losses. But in the meantime, we see the Torby coming back. This hero just seems like it has been really effective for this team, but it could take control of the last point, which is ideally what they want to do here.
Yeah, that's right. Froakie has that sound barrier, but a lot of offensive options on the table for Incognito. The minefield is the first to be put down as Nat has found out up and close. Alex gets Wicked out of the game, and Theomatic is looking back to see whether or not they need to actually peel for their team. The Diva Bomb doesn't find anything on the side for Yelmo, and that means that Fox Nihili now have the opening and the opportunity to put a lot of pressure on there, and the Primal Rage doesn't really help out the cause for Incognito, and that is just a lot of damage firing in. Tsuyo tries it with the Molten Core, but Vendetta and NKZ now have the opportunity to come in one by one, side by side, and just fire it into the end, and that is exactly what happens. Round one complete. We're going for the flip, and I am looking forward to the counterpoint that Incognito now has to face, because otherwise they will face the music.
Incognito really feels so much better playing on this map. They are winning more fights than we've seen them winning before, and this could be ideally because they know exactly where to play. They know they have to take the high ground over and over again. The only times where they were losing those fights was when they weren't really working together and trying to play aggressive like we talk about over and over again. But they do have a big opportunity here to take the victory. So I'm really looking forward to see what they have to bring when we see them on the attacking side.
Ready for battle.
Well, the counterpoint for Incognito right now is speed. We have seen that Fox and Nihili basically want to... Well, they have overrun Incognito whenever they try to set up set pieces. So if you can actually speed your way or brute force your way through the way that Fox Nihili will try to engage you, for instance, by playing the Reinhardt, that could work, provided that there is enough healing to keep that Reinhardt alive, because otherwise you'll be in big trouble with that main tank just being a vulnerability rather than an asset. We'll see how it's going to go. In 5 seconds, the doors will open. Let's see if Incognito are actually going ahead with that plan as the doors get up.
And I believe this is a good start, seeing QRXU going on the Sombra as well, so there's going to be more of a duel for them going through, and this is one of the biggest advantages Vox Nihili had, was being able to have that EMP when the other team didn't. That's why they were taking advantage out of it over and over again. Now it's going to be more even.
Now moving in, good job from Theomatic, has to pull back, but that high ground is looking good. Wicked keeping the team alive, but that shield was very low on their support. Now Incognito pushing it in. Theomatic finds Orang though, and NKZ follows it up with a kill on Tsuyo. Vox Nihili just able to encircle the death ball that Incognito were trying to play and just take them apart one by one.
And getting those early picks for them, always looking so good. One of the biggest things going on for them is a synergy. In the meantime, we see the D.Va doesn't really have a mech, but should be able to get in just a few seconds before we see Incognito taking advantage of it. It should be safe. In the meantime, taking control of this high ground, looking really good for them. And Winston from Theomatic is about to go really aggressive into the next fight.
Now NKZ once again able to get Tsuyo's turret away, and there comes the big machine. Theomatic with the jetpack kill immediately. Alex and NKZ take advantage of the space that they have and clear it out. The Coalescence comes up onto Wicked, who is unable to get more than one kill out of that. But look at the backline. This payload was just moving. QRXU was just riding it.
I mean, they always try to use this, every single team trying to get the backpack, but it's not going to be enough now that EMP
coming in. people already down. Oregon Yelmo taking the bullets right there. Tsuyu and QRXU in a bit of trouble. There's a shatter coming up from Wicked. Did not do an awful lot. As Steelmatic is now pinning, no juggling him in a corner with that big monkey body of his. Alex, nice double kill on the follow-up. Vox Nihili still in control of the engagement. 1 minute and 45 on the clock.
Vox taking the advantage coming into the next fight again. Stealthy Shark is going to try to get a few picks as well, so it's just not looking bad for them. In the meantime, Incognito struggling a little bit more, but the EMP now coming from them should be really good, should get at least a few cacks and help the team try to get to this first point. But in the meantime, only 1 minute 20 seconds left for them.
QRXU already very low, is already in trouble. We do see Theomatic just standing on top of those stalls, making something happen. Now the EMP comes out. Theomatic and Froakie are on them. There's the Tobelstein. Yelmo fires in that surge, immediately countered by Nat and Froakie with their support ultimates. Both of them now no longer in the back for Vox Nihili, but Incognito are not there yet. Just as the Primal Rage was going up, Wicked goes down, and we do see that it is Sobek who is able to get Alex off their case, so that's good. Sobek with the double kill takes Nat down as well. It's 3 meters to go, 40 seconds on the clock. Will Incognito actually force the issue? It does look very good for them as QRXU and Yelmo get another 3 kills done, and there's the cap. 3 minutes on the clock.
Whatever interesting composition that we see play for them, it just wins them the fight rather well. Sobek looks so much more comfortable on the Lucio compared to what we saw on Mercy. And also seeing the Sari being played out and getting so much value is absolutely amazing from Incognito, coming up with solutions, coming up with the changes necessary to take the victory here. Now, the only thing that they have to watch out for is that EMP from Alex. If they're able to protect themselves and not everyone gets attacked, they have an opportunity to keep pushing.
Theomatic very far in enemy territory, but needs to get out of it. QRXU is able to get Vendetta off their tank's case, so that is very good for the progression that this payload has to make. Now the fight is real, though. Alex looking for some targets. QRXU with that pulse bomb doesn't really find a lot of targets. Froakie onto Tsuyo gets him down, and we do see Incognito want to make some space and want to make some speed happen, and the double bubble, Wicked and Yelmo, are instrumental in making that happen.
They're looking so much better into this double bubble that they decide to play. Now putting the Vox in a bad position, especially getting the pick and Alex early on, not able to build that EMP for the next fight.
No, we do see NKZ and was pushed out of Meg. Wicked with that Primal Rage has a lot of opportunity to set it up. There's just a bomb being parked inside of there. That was just a try to make it to make some kills out of that very, very tense situation. Vendetta gets QRXU set away. Theomatic with the Primal Rage onto Tsuyu, but it is Wicked who is jumping around and is keeping his team absolutely safe and sound. That is beautiful, and this 0.2 cap is fast enough for them to actually be able to close it out. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, Riot.
A fascinating composition and fight that we just saw. I really like seeing how Incognito is making these changes and pulling it through. They are looking so good. They have so many ults incoming as well, so that's going to benefit them. They have more time that Vox had when they came here. So this should be good.
That's right, Sound Barrier is already out. Wicked with the Primal Rage fires it in, gets onto Alex. Yelmo unable to get away from that bit of kill. Now QRXU in the back line, Sobek, but there it is! The die, the Death Blossom gets Tsuyo, gets Wicked down, and is able to just hold that crazy push. QRXU still on it, gets a triple kill. Payload not moving, but very close to actually set it up. Now with that spawn advantage, Vox Nihili have some breathing room, obviously, but they need to control QRXU or he will dismantle the entire operation.
And he was doing so good, but realizes that has to back up before he gets killed, wait for his team. This is a really good advantage that he's going to be going. In the meantime, Alex EMP is going to be ready, coalescence as well. Really good engaging tools coming into the next fight. I really want to see it. Really have to watch out for the graviton though.
Oh, EMP comes in, countered by the sound bubble. Sobek with a very good response. Wicked with a double kill on the back of that. And that EMP did absolutely nothing. Sobek saved the entire team just by firing the ultimate and being able to get into that little hallway. And that's got to hurt for Alex and has got to hurt for Vox Nihili. QRXU, nice pulse bomb, goes in for more as he has this side set on it. Is holding the entirety of Vox Nihili back while round 2 is being completed. Look at that. They actually make it with 10 more seconds. That's crazy. That's just crazy.
It's such an insane performance from them. Once again, they decided to change the heroes, decided to play something else, and it just... Going into Dorado and playing this Zarya is not something that we see quite often in the new meta that's forming, but it just worked amazingly for Incognito, over and over again taking the advantage. It seems like everyone just went into their comfort picks, and it worked. Sovek on the Lucio, over and over again, getting so much value, getting picks, also keeping his team alive, giving the speed when the team needed, when the tanks needed it. It's just more than enough for them, so they have all the opportunities to take the victory here.
No, I mean, you are absolutely right. Sobek and Wicked, both on the first point, and right now on the third point, and Wicked actually as well on the second point, have been so instrumental in making this happen, have been so critical in the way that they run this in. I mean, I have been talking about QRXU, the PS shenanigans, the Tracer shenanigans for a long time. That is absolutely right. Right, and it is true. He does get a lot of things going. He gets the ball rolling. He gets to, well, kill, because that's what a DPS player does, right? But Wicked and Sobek, are you kidding me? These guys are making mountains of space. You could build a country there. It's crazy. I love it.
And there are just so many ways where you can play the Lucio. You can play a little bit more passive with your team, or you can play it really aggressive. We know the Reddit Lucio memes, we see them everywhere. And this is the Sobek that we just really like seeing. The Mercy just wasn't working for him. So I'm really happy to see this change coming from this team. They look completely different. Even when Alex had that EMP and the opportunity to win into the last fight, it just didn't happen. That graviton came from Yelmo, and it was so good. It was able to get the Moira, and it was also able to get the Diva. And after that, you just killed the rest of the team.
I mean, the thing that is instrumental as well, the change that has impressed me most and is working like a charm, is Yelmo. Yelmo's Zarya. The moment that they thought, you know what, let's just pick a Zarya, let's see what happens. That double bubble does so much damage. That double bubble has so much survivability. And it just works. Alex and Vendetta specifically didn't really have a lot of, well, balls on their counter. They weren't able to get that abacus up onto their side of the equation. And that is partly because Yelmo is able to just bubble whenever Froakie or whenever Sobek or Orang seem to be in a bit of trouble. Combine that with Suyo and the turret and the way that they are just able to keep, especially Alex, away from your backline, and you're golden. But enough talking about the last round. Onwards for the next one. Vox Nihili are taking the sewers. They're coming in from the back like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but they have been heard, they have been seen, and right now it's Incognito. They need to hold their ground. They can't, though, as Orang goes down and Suyo's turret gets dismantled. Vox Nihili have just smelled blood, and they are after it. This is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles adult version, because they're killing everything.
And this is a really good dive that we saw from Vox, making it effective, getting that first pick, all thanks to Diva. And now, yeah, this is going to overtime, but they're looking so good coming for the future fight before the point was taken from them. Try to build assaults, try to build that EMP. Really good opportunity for them. Also, that Tam Barrier is about to be ready. That coalescence, they have more than enough engaging tools to take the win into spawn.
Vox Nihili firing it in with that coalescence. Nad trying to make as much space as they can with it. There's a molten core from the other side trying to paint the payload a little bit more green and a little bit more defensible by that stretch. QRXU going down to Alex. Vendetta finds Sewer on the sideline. The overtime wick is running. The cap is there. And now we are going down to the wire. This is some of the hardest Overwatch that you're going to see, because this point, running this across this part in overtime, the payload running this payload across the high ground before you actually get to under the bridge is so difficult to do. Let's see if Fox and Nihili have the patience to do this and the cojones to actually deal with whatever Incognito are throwing at them. Oh, there's an EMP immediately set up Vendetta with that Death Blossom. That was a good combination. Did not find as much as they probably imagined. There's a sound barrier coming out. QRXU and Wicked, both of them very low. Diva Bomb gets Wicked in its own bubble, but there's another molten core up there. Froakie unable to get out. QRXU in the backline gets Nat, gets Vendetta. The overtime wick still running. It's running down. And that means round 3 is complete, and we're going for another flip. Dryad, talk me through this. What did I just see, and why?
So many ults coming for Incognito, looking so good. They decide to engage for the Graviton early on, then they just use everything else, put a lot of damage into Vox, where they're not able to do anything about it. They did have a few opportunities again, but it was unfortunately just way too late for them. They weren't able to build as many ults as they wanted to take control here. And like you mentioned, just pushing this payload into this part of the map is not easy at all. And just especially in that overtime where once you get killed or you go away from the payload, you just have no more opportunities to take the victory. Now, once again, Incognito looking in a really good spot to take the victory here. Very curious to see how the composition that they are going through is going to get them the victory possibly. And Yelmo building the Graviton Surge so fast, it was actually built faster than the support ults that his team had. So that just means how much damage he's putting through, how much he's doing for his team, and how strong this player is on this hero. It's going to be a really good hero if they want to take the victory.
We'll see how it is going to pan out. Look at Alex's position. They are just not only scouting, but at this point, this is just a disrespect from a great Sombra. And I have to give it to them. Alex's Sombra has been instrumental in Vox Nihili's playstyle so far. NKZ very low on the sideline there, as it is Incognito. They're moving in with a two-pronged setup yet again. Wicked jumps out from completely the back. We did see that there was a try for a hole directly on the spawn, but three of Incognito's players come all the way from the balcony, just jump straight on there. That is great. I've never seen that before. Orang goes down.
And now they're going to be playing this really, really close, trying to get more picks. You really need to play for picks here if you want to take the victory. And this is a really good start for Vox, getting that kill on the other Sombra, trying to stop that EMP to getting built, because that's going to be so strong for the other team.
Well, it's just 10 seconds on the clock. It does look as if the stall tactics work. There's a sound barrier versus a molten core, as the sound barrier seems to be winning it out. Froakie with a very good response. Suyo falling over. The overtime wick is going down there, and now it is Wicked. Has that primal rage, makes some room. QRXU and Sobak are on point as well, just to get something rolling. But it is very, very late. Starting on this point, before you hit the first choke already in the overtime, is painful.
And that was almost like they couldn't make it, but finally Incognito able to get those picks, also playing so aggressive. Now, for the side of Vox, they really need to watch out. Their Graviton Search is going to be coming through. Ideally, you want your diva to try to eat it, but we know this is not easy task. They're going to be countering her as much as you can, and also so many ults for them to take the victory.
Oh, Wicked goes down, and so does Suyo. There's a Death Blossom on the sideline and gets hit with a nice bomb. That's an EMP. No one on the payload, and Vox and Nihili close it out just by throwing these ultimates in a very, very coordinated way. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, Dryad.
Yeah, that old economy that we talked about when it comes to the side of Vox has been amazing over and over again. They know exactly what to use. They don't overspend those ultimates that are going to affect them in the next fight. And that's why they take the victory here. They have an amazing performance. But once again, huge credit to Incognito. They were looking so close, especially at the end. I'm curious, and I believe the reason why they were forcing that composition at the end and why it worked so well, it was because it was closer to the previous meta that we saw in Overwatch. So they had more experience playing it, they had more opportunities to take the advantage. They were doing so well rather than trying to adapt and play it around Vox. But at the end of the day, Vox, amazing, takes the win here.
That's right. And we do have a special treat for you, ladies and gentlemen, out there from Vox Nihili, the support player, the man with the plan, the frog with the sock. It's Froakie, dude. We will be expecting him in just a second here in an interview. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in about 20 seconds, and then we will have some great questions for him, for our friend to ask. So stay tuned. And we are back. It is quick. It is just as quick as the person we have on stream for you now. With us is a Froakie dude, the flexible player for Vox Nihili. Froakie, first of all, congratulations on the first win of this Contenders trials here. And, well, what do you have to say about that one?
I think it was harder than it needed to be for us. It should have been a very quick 3-0, but we made a couple of large mistakes. I think some of us were not entirely as warm as we would have wanted to be, but at least we got the win in the end and we didn't take it to 5 maps. That would have not been great. That happened.
Yeah, some people have already speculated that you needed some extra material for your VOD reviews. Now, if you had to point at your single biggest mistake in this game, what would that be?
My personal single biggest mistake in this game would be spending too much time in the open breaking the turret. Every time I stand there breaking it, I start getting zapped by the monkey and forced to use my amp for not a very good reason. But I would say that was my biggest error. I died a lot where I shouldn't have. I didn't play as well as I'd like to, but at least we got it done in the end.
Yeah, and overall, you just had a really good performance thanks to your team. And like you mentioned, it was very, very close. I do want to ask you, were you surprised to see the composition, especially towards the end, that Incognito was running? It was definitely not something that you're used to seeing, especially on this meta that's been changing. Were you discussing if you were wanting to make some changes, or you just decided to play this composition towards the end?
We knew that they would be playing Torbjorn and Brawl compositions with Torbjorn in them because of Suyo. But we thought they would have Reinhardt, but they ended up playing a lot of Winston, which we didn't predict. But we just needed a couple of mid-game adaptations in order to deal with it. Honestly, their composition was complete garbage. It was a disgrace that we managed to make it that close. But yeah, I would recommend that they don't play that composition ever again. Certainly not with the monkey in it.
So you weren't a big fan of Wicked's monkey, if I understand.
Well,
correctly.
I can't say that he didn't play it well. I just don't think it meshes very well with the Torbjorn that they have in the back. I would say the biggest problem we had with their comp was that they hit a lot of nades. The Ana player was doing a lot of value on the nades.
Right. Okay. So looking forward, another round of Contenders trials to you. Is there any team that you are let's say, a bit more afraid of than Incognito?
We definitely think that Ex-Oblivione will be a large challenge, and SMC as well. Obviously, the two teams to drop for Contenders will be big challenges for us. They have different rosters, so we're hoping we'll be able to abuse our synergy over them. But another team that we're looking out for is Hot Bath, even though they have obviously also done some roster changes. They sort of play the same stuff that CBA plays with the Torbjorn, but I think they play it a lot better, so we're going to have to really practice and make sure we're clean with our rotations and movements in order to beat them.
All right, mate. As a last point, any shout outs, anything you want to get off your chest before we go?
I would like to state that my friend NKZ asked me that you call him NKZ and not NKZ. I don't know if you did it correctly on the stream today, but he was getting a little annoyed at it. But yeah, that's all he asked from me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For me, for me, it's a Z. It will always be a Z.
Yeah, well,
so
for me it's
my
a Z as well because I'm British, but he wants it
Yeah.
as Z. So
Exactly. I will make an extra note of it. So NKZ, if you're listening, and you probably are with your teammate in this here. First of all, my apologies, and second of all, I will try to get this right someday. But forgive a boomer for forgetting. All right.
Which is-
Thank you.
well, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen out there. This has been Froakie Dude for Vox Nihili. We wish them a lot of luck in the rest of this trial season. We will take a short break while we prepare the next game. So see you in just a couple of minutes. And we are back with the EMEA Contenders trials here on Monkey Bubble, and we have a doozy of a game for you. It's Ex-Oblivione versus Shoes Money Crew. My name is the Olimancer, in case you missed it, and with me, in case you really missed it, is Dryad. And I have to say, this game is just fantastic. Two teams that come fresh out of Contenders, have been demoted, and are now here to fight it out for our entertainment. Dryad, I'm excited, and you?
Yeah, this is going to be such an exciting match. Like you mentioned, they just came out of Contenders now. They're trying their best to get those wins to try to become the top of the players. So this is going to be really, really good. I'm also really interested in seeing Ex-Oblivione's lineup for today. About 20 minutes ago, they made the announcement that they're going to be having actually 2 new players that are coming from OBA Alliance. They're going to be having Cloud and they're going to be having Lethal. They're absolutely amazing, and I'm really excited to see if we're going to be seeing them today and how they're going to perform if they had enough time to have that synergy going. We know that for Ex-Oblivione, they're absolutely amazing.
Yep, that's right. Ex-Oblivione are absolutely amazing as a team, all in all, though they did have a bit of a rough run in their last Contenders outing. They had a bit of a pride before the fall moment, saying that, you know, we're going to have a great time in Contenders. Then they immediately get up against the number 2 and number 3 slots of the last Contender season and get relegated yet again. That has to feel very, very bad for them. So I hope they can get back in and show us what they're really made of. On the other side, of course, we have a bit of a surprise tank for Shoes Money Crew. I was 100% sure that A10 actually was transferring to avoid it, but here he is. He's in the tank slot right there. And unless my information is completely wrong, I'm going to be very, very much watching to see what A10 brings to the table for them. We are going to once again load in onto Ilios, and I was wondering, do you have a prediction for me? What do you think is going to happen? How is this going to play?
Right, I definitely think that we're going to be seeing more of those dive tanks. We're going to be seeing Diva and Winston coming through for these matchups. And that Sombra especially, it has been so important throughout this meta. But I do expect a few changes coming, especially for the other DPS. And in the line of supports, there are a lot of variations at teams. Since the meta is not really set just yet, they play what they feel more comfortable with and how they know they can counter the enemy team. So a lot of opportunities I don't think we would be seeing a full mirror, and if we do, that will be a perfect opportunity to see who's going to be taking the advantage, who's playing more aggressive, and that synergy that we were talking about going, especially for Ex-Oblivione, and how they're able to adapt to these 2 new players that they bring, and definitely they bring them to make that comeback into Contenders.
Yeah, you do say new players, but of course the names are very much known to everyone who has ever seen anything of Overwatch come past the pro, at least here in the European regions. So it is not as if these guys are fresh off the open division. We'll see, however, like I said, how this time is going to play out. And I am looking especially forward to seeing if Shoes Money Crew in their current state, in the current way that they have been playing, they didn't have a lot of fun in Contenders. I have to say, well, they were pretty good, but you know, there's a reason why they're back in here. How they're going to set up against this very stacked Ex-Oblivione roster. Well, 5 seconds until the doors open. Would you like to tell us something about the compositions we're going to see for both teams?
Well, the compositions just look more interesting than we expected. Actually, we're going to be seeing Hades on this Reinhardt and A10 on Zarya in comparison to this double bubble. So we're seeing this matchup and who takes the advantage. Obviously, the high ground should definitely be going for Shoes Money Crew, and this is a good opportunity for them to take the advantage.
Now moving in, but the team setting up for the high ground already. Ex-Oblivione with Vestola try to make some room on those balconies and on the top of the lighthouse. Then just getting ready for the captures. Money crew have to pull back a bit after that initial skirmish, but it's A10 takes two of them, slaying Vestola, both of them going down, and that just means that there is a lot of fight potential for Shoes Money crew. Moving in straight away as Sauna goes down, the capture counter is there, and after merely 12% on the clock, that is a problem. A10 gets Kara as well. What? This Zarya is on fire. Urki on the side with onto White Noise, and Ex-Oblivione seem to have misjudged that situation there because they were just evicted from that point. They weren't even kicked out, they were evicted.
And there's so much aggression coming from both sides. That's why both were able to get some percentage on the point. So they're not looking bad at all. But now this is going to be really hard, especially for the supports, seeing that Zenyatta and the Mercy need to play really, really careful. You don't want to get picked. A lot of healing coming for the Zenyatta as well.
Now moving in, 38% on the clock here for Shoes Money crew. Ex-Oblivione seem to have a bit of startup difficulties. Urki finds White Noise yet again, but this time A10 goes down because Cloud is able to close out the deal. White Noise has been rest, and now they're moving into the point. Ex-Oblivione looking for a couple of kills right away. The Bob is out, but does not seem to find the value that may have been hoped here for Cloud. That being said, Ex-Oblivione still has the point, and they swip it over at 61%. This is going to get interesting.
And they're doing so good so far, but a huge advantage that we're going to be seeing almost 6 ults as well. They're going to be having that EMP for Urki. They're also going to having that Graviton. So this is a huge advantage that we're going to be seeing for this team coming into this next fight. A lot of aggression as well, trying to take control of the point.
A10, we're riding with them, has that Graviton Surge and is not actually forced to use it because the swap is just immediately followed in. Once again, Shoes Money crew, very good setup by Fees, hold on to the phone there, but Vestola closes it out. Now the grab is being set up, immediately kills Sauna with the initial damage, and that means a lot of problems for Ex-Oblivione. Hades follows it up, gets White Noise down, and the clock is ticking. The percentage is stacking up, and so is Shoes Money crew on poor Cloud up in the high ground.
Shoes Money crew has been doing so good so far, and in the meantime, Ex-Oblivione looking in a little bit of trouble so far. Seems like both teams have very different playstyles so far coming to this map, and it goes to overtime. They should be going for this time.
The overtime wake already running, indeed. There's a coalescence flying in from SAP for a while just to try and keep out Ex-Oblivione. Vestola finds SAP with a nicely set up bomb. Hades very low on shield, tries to go with a charge on the sideline. It is Cloud who picks up on that, well, I wouldn't say mistake, but on that venture. Nice setup. There is Feast, gets actually booped off the sideline by that Primal Rage, and once again, Ex-Oblivione in control, 99-46. Can Ex-Oblivione hold that position, or will SMC push it in for a third time?
And they have a lot of opportunities here. That EMP as well coming for Shoes Money crew. That's going to be really, really good. An engagement that could take them the victory here. In the meantime, so many ults used for Ex-Oblivione, not the best spot.
Being speeded in, but immediately losing Kumba to Sauna. There's the hack, the EMP coming out. Another one of those death dances in the back as it takes its toll. Beautifully tried, but Ex-Oblivione are able to hold on to it. Actually have to recontest it for a second, but Cloud with a nice double kill. And Cloud on Pharah is a monster, is a beast. Just watch yourself when you see that coming over the horizon.
Huge curse for the damage coming through for Ex-Oblivione, and now they're looking so much better, taking more control of the situation. Ideally what they want to do, but now the most scary thing that they have going for them is that both support ults were used. So now you know that the coalescence is going to be used as an engagement tool for Shoes Money crew, and that should be really good for them to finally take the victory here. This is definitely one last fight.
Oh, the timer ticking for them, though. Sana and Cloud find their targets. Hades and Feast, both of them already down. Cloud finds another one. A10 is down. Sauna onto Kumba. And there it is. The barrage fires in. The overtime wick is still running. That should be the counter cap. And Ex-Oblivione take it out of hand of Shoes Money Crew. No! Someone is actually touching. That is crazy. Hades jumps in with that ball, but this time it's not enough. The wick is over, and so is the first round. And that goes to Ex-Oblivione after some aggressive plays in the second half of this first round.
One of my favorite things about Ex-Oblivione is seeing how good they are adapting to any changes that come through halfway through the match. They were not doing so good right at the beginning, but once they were able to take control to make the changes necessary, they look so strong. Seeing Slay get those picks on Zenyatta is not the easiest thing to do in the support. You know everyone on the opposite team is going to try to counter you, is going to try to kill you as soon as they can. But the fact that we can see this Zenyatta get so much value has been absolutely amazing. One of the best opportunities that they have, especially taking into account that Sen and Mercy heals are not the best support lineup that you can have on this point, but the fact that they pulled it through going against Amora and a Lucio is absolutely impressive.
Well, the Mercy you need for the Pharmacy, obviously, and Slay is known for his very aggressive play. Slay is basically an extra DPS on the roster, so they're forgoing a lot of healing at this point. Hades already going down on the back of that because Slay knows that they can count on Sona, but Feast comes in and stops the madness that is that Zenyatta immediately being rest up. Cloud finds Kumba up from the sky, and now Feast looking to get onto Vestola, but Vestola shuts that down immediately. Now Cloud going into the little pagode, and if Cloud comes into the pagode, it is not Cloud's that praying, but you. Now 10% on the clock. Ex-Oblivione still set up, and we are watching hungrily to what Shoes Money Crew are going to do about it.
Yeah, a few adaptation changes might be needed. They do have a big opportunity once again having Erky on the Sombra trying to build that EMP and taking the advantage that Shoes Money Crew is, and that we see Ex-Oblivione not really having it. So this is really good, but you really need to be able to counter the fire as well because so much damage is coming through this year.
White noise coming up from that little sunroof into the entirety of Shoes Money Crew. Feast finds Slay on the sideline. Kumba goes down yet again, but Feast has a double kill. Has both of the healers down. Sona tries to equalize it by getting Sap out of the fight, and White Noise has that primal rage and is fighting on to both of the tanks for Shoes Money Crew. Looking good, Ex-Oblivione, looking good.
Yeah, and he tries to Sauna again on this Tracer, over and over again, having an amazing performance, playing really aggressive, but also making sure that he's staying alive throughout the fight. That is enabling the team so much to play aggressive as well. Probably we're going to be seeing the barrage coming through in just a few seconds, and also so many ults coming through in defense that should be really good.
That's right, and here it starts. The Coalescence is there, and also the Valkyrie. There's the barrage coming up from Cloud. Cloud is actually able to survive that for a bit, but gets stuck by Feast. That is just nasty. White Noise and Sona find their targets, but there's an EMP. Sona and White Noise, both of them absolutely hacked out, are not being capitalized on because Cloud was there to clear it out from the sky. A10 going down. Feast onto Slay there. It's 97%, 98%. And the point does not seem to be ticking over despite a very, very good primal rage from Hades here. Kumba is unable to keep their point on that little wall because they just get electrocuted by White Noise on the sidelines. They have seen enough Lucios to know what happens, and that is 100-0 for Ex-Oblivione here on the second round of the first map. Ex-Oblivione wins it, and we are going to see whether or not they can keep this streak going.
And it seems like they will be able to making those adaptation changes very early on when they were struggling a little bit. Was so good for them to take the victory. They look strong from beginning to end, and this is where you start questioning the DPS lineup from Shoes Money Crew, where the Sombra is a very strong pick. You can get that EMP that we talked about over and over again. But if you don't really get value out of the hero, if you're not making sure that your team is engaging with the EMP and with those hacks that you get in the tanks, then it's going to be really hard. So there is a more than simply just the gameplay of Sombra going through, but also the synergy that you have with the team. And for now, it just seems like Ex-Oblivione has it all.
It does seem like Ex-Oblivione has it all, and if they don't have it all, well, they just switch out a couple of players because they still have a couple of substitute players. Now, we will have the team set up, the lobby, so that it will actually reflect the team names as well. We have been informed that that didn't go fully well, but, you know, those things happen, and we are looking forward to Volskaya Industries. Now, we've seen Volskaya Industries before today, and we have seen that to go, well, not fully to the wire, but to go longer than at least our friend Froakie dude from the last game expected it to go. Now, Ex-Oblivione versus Shoes Money Crew, entirely different beast. What do we expect from this game? What do you think is going to be, who's going to win this and why?
I believe Ex-Oblivione has a big advantage coming into this map. They know how to play aggressive, and like we mentioned, they have that synergy always going for them. And that benefits them so much in this meta where you really have to play together. In the meantime, Shumani Crew seems like they feel more comfortable playing that Lucio Mora for the support lineup, which is really good to keep the team alive, to make sure that you have a lot of mobility as well. But it can also be countered really easily if Ex-Oblivione knows how to play it. And from what we just saw, they know exactly how to counter them.
That is, wow. Yeah, that is absolutely 100% right. I know I seem surprised. I shouldn't be surprised, of course. You just caught me there for a second. We do see a bit of a change. Sauna and Lethal now on the DPS slots for Ex-Oblivione. And to those people who don't know, Lethal has that name not just for show. So very interesting to see the matchup, especially Lethal versus Afiz, because both of them tend to play these sideline, very dangerous little creatures that will come in from the flank. So we're talking Tracers, Sombras, talking flank characters, maybe like a Reaper. I'm sorry, I'm so old, I'm blanking on hero names by now. So we are just waiting for both of the teams to get ready. I have to say, 8-10 though in that first round came out of the gate screaming and screeching, taking not one, not two, not three, but 4 of the initial kills, and just marching Shoes Money Crew on the way to the point. That he didn't roll out a red carpet at that point was the only thing that was missing, and I absolutely hope that A10 can get another one of those Zarya games in, because the Diva, while a very good Diva, we know A10 is a very good Diva, if that Zarya play wasn't just an accident, yes please, because we all love a good Zarya, especially on their home map.
Yeah, and just Zarya it just puts you in a big advantage if you really know how to play it. And it can also take other teams by surprise, which is ideally what they want to do here coming into Volskaya. And also, when we were talking about Lethal, I wouldn't be surprised to see some interesting picks coming actually in the video where they were making the announcement that they were going to have Lethal as part of the team. We saw some Bastion and some Sombra gameplay of Lethal not hitting any shots. So it was very interesting. It is a lot of the confidence and the synergy that they have going on, and we're actually just seeing some pieces that we might see with Bastion. I don't know how likely it is, but we've seen some even professional teams play the Bastion in this map, so it's not impossible. Definitely not ideal though.
Well, I don't think they're going to go with the attack Bastion. Remember, before the gates open, never say anything about the attacking team, because teams love to troll you on that one. It's just what they do. Now, defending objective A is not going to be easy for the lads and lasses of Shoes Money Crew, because it is Ex-Oblivione on the attack first. We already see the Farmers, he is being swapped in, so right now we will see the exact same setup that Sauna and Kara have already shown us on control.
And a lot of changes coming through Lethal as well after we mentioned that now it seems like he's going to be sticking on the Tracer, and really good job so far taking the high ground, now putting the defenders in not the ideal position. They're going to have a lot of trouble getting out of this area.
Sauna looking for a couple of setups here. The capture is already halfway on the way. It doesn't look as if Shoes Money Crew are going in for now. Now they are, though. The engagement is there. Hades swinging that hammer. White Noise and Lethal very low. A need to pull back a bit. And it looks as if Shoes Money Crew have bunkered themselves into that little side bunker there with the big health pack. Let's see how it is going to work for them and if it is going to work for them. Lethal looking for a target on the tanks. Maybe even build that pulse bomb quickly. Now in a fight versus Erky, has to set up but has to pull back. Goes in with the 180 pulse bomb but is unable to fully connect it. Nice. Slay and Sauna find their targets, and this time it means that Shoes Money Crew is in trouble, and that's exactly what it's looking like. Ex-Oblivione pushing it in. Sauna with a double kill while Kara is away doing the Lord's work and getting White Noise back on their feet. 2 minutes turn into 5 minutes 18, and we are going to be.
And even though it was a very slow fight, we saw how Ex-Oblivione took the advantage every single time. They had absolutely no one in the side of Shoes Money Crew to be able to counter this Pharah, and that was putting so much damage through. They were also, their rotation for Shoes Money Crew wasn't ideal, and then coming through, they're going to be having that Vara, they're also going to have that Valkyrie to engage.
There's a nano onto Sauna. Sauna has that barrage ready. Is firing it in onto the face of Hades right away and is not able to get anything out of it. That's the EMP as a counter. Sauna is now grounded right there. Lethal. Good pulse bomb. Doesn't connect but gets him anyway as White Noise comes in, jumps in there with that primal rage onto Sap, and this is just an opener for Ex-Oblivione as Lethal and Vestola find their targets. The capture is starting to run in. Hades goes down, unable to hold that in. Vestola being hacked but is not phased by it at all. There's a Tobalstein up there by A10, but Sauna clears it out. A10 and Sap, both of them going down there because that Pharah is just absolutely mental. Kumba shoots Sauna out of the sky though, and this time the fight may just actually turn. Even 2/3 have already been capped. It's 3-on-3 onto that control point, but remember, there is still a respawn advantage. Vestola and White Noise know that, and White Noise goes in for a double kill to Hades and up there. 3 minutes and 40 on the clock, and I don't think that Shoes Money Crew can actually complete this fight. They need to regroup and try this again with a fresh.
Yeah, really, really good job from Ex-Oblivione, especially at the end. We saw that DPS wanted to jump right away, try to hold it a little bit longer, but we once again see those wasn't jumping, not allowing this to happen. So what an amazing performance. The building of ults right at the beginning was going to help them so much, and like they mentioned that they did have the spawn advantage coming through for the defenders, but unfortunately just wasn't enough for them. They couldn't come in time, and they were just getting killed one by one. At that point, there is absolutely nothing else they can do. They have a lot of time. Ex-Oblivione, they have 3 minutes 36 seconds. So it's just really good to see this happening in Volskaya. Definitely not like we saw on the previous match, and more opportunities for them to take the victory here. Now, we're not going to be seeing the Pharah, ideally, especially on the defense, but if we are going to be seeing Lethal on the Ashe, that's absolutely amazing getting those picks and also having that Mercy pocketing it.
Yeah, and you want to watch Lethal on the Pharah. On the Ashe. Because Lethal on the Ashe in Contenders has been just beautiful. So, we'll see how it is going to pan out, but if Lethal has a game the way that we know and respect Lethal for it, then it is going to be very hard for Fees and Erky to actually get out of that gate. Well, not out of that gate, but get some real value. Now, Shoes Money Crew. This time it is their turn to attack, and if they can get some momentum going, this might just actually be equalized. But the time difference is all that it is, because the time bank for Ex-Oblivione is huge. 3 minutes and 36 is a long time in Overwatch.
And we're going to be seeing how this rotation is going to be working for Shoes Money Crew. Knowing that, you know, Lethal is going to try to hold his high gun for as long as he can. So if they're able to jab it like we see right now, and take him down, this could be the way for them to push.
Ooh. Feast comes in from below, actually gets Sauna out of it. That means that the res has already been used after that nice jump from the tank line of Shoes Money Crew up onto that high ground. But it is Slay who gets Kumba. Sauna is able to get Feast out of that setup again. And while we do see that Slay tries to heal, he is just so busy with making a lot of people disappear. That damage on that Zenyatta is nuts.
Yeah, and you can already see the difference between the two teams holding the defense. I really like how Ex-Oblivione holds the high ground, doesn't give it out so soon. You do want to make the rotation to make sure that you were alive, and that's exactly what you do. Once again, the pick on Fizz, that's just really good. More time that is going to be going for them. So, also coming into the next fight, ults coming through, huge advantage for Ex-Oblivione, and the rotations, the synergy they have going on is exactly what they need to win here.
Hades peeks around the corner, gets a little bit low, needs to pull back a little bit, but this time Shoes Money Crew seem to be going for it. The first third has already been capped, so if they keep split pushing it, they might just be doing this in a very, very methodical way. Fees with a nice pulse bomb onto Kara, but that is lethal, gets Hades. Now White Noise hunting Kumba, has that primal rage, and decides to go after a 10 instead, as Lethal closes it out from the backside. White Noise still on that primal rage, makes sure that Feast will not have any shenanigans, goes on to Saab next, and it's 1 minute and 40 and no additional point touch for SMC.
And when looking at this lineup that they have there, everyone has been doing an amazing job so far for Ex-Oblivione. Lethal getting these picks, as well as Sauna taking everyone down, melting the tanks as well. White Nose playing aggressive along with the Vistola when they have to. It's just definitely the best way to hold the defense. They're holding high grounds in different positions to make sure that the dive doesn't come through for one of them, and having the support of everyone else as well is what is keeping them alive.
Moving again, SMC once again tries to contend that high ground. Good pulse bomb. Nia actually pushes back Hades. The sound barrier was absolutely instrumental in that, and so is the EMP. Hades gets Slay. Urki onto Vestola. There's a Diva Bomb coming up there that does not find a lot of targets, but gives you a little bit of time. Kara gets Slay back up at 8-10, and Urki find that target on the backside. Urki gets White Noise. That is absolutely instrumental, because White Noise has been jumping onto the onto Shoes Money Crew's dive so effectively that they stop them out. But this is cap A, 3 minutes and 30, which means that they have less time to do the thing that Ex-Oblivione has left in their time bank. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it was just a really good defense that we saw from Ex-Oblivione as well. In the meantime, Shoes Money Crew was able to get the point, and I really like seeing that self-destruct that we saw on the high ground. It pushed everyone down and just got the kills necessary. Now they're going to be playing this very, very aggressive.
Now, Shoes Money Crew up on that point. They're trying to get that first third going. There's the Coalescence coming out from Saab here. Keeps most of SMC in fighting spirit and fighting order, but Lethal fires onto Hades. There it is. The Transcendence comes out from Slay, and now that means that Ex-Oblivione have a lot of room to move. Shoes Money Crew realize that and pull back. They have to regroup, and that's exactly what they're going for. Fees, with that recall now deep in enemy territory, just gets out of there, barely gets out of there, to be honest, and it's 2 minutes and 20 on the clock.
And we talk about Urki on the Sombra and how it hasn't really gotten as much value as you would expect from this hero, but this is a really good opportunity to see this value coming through. EMP very early on as well. This is exactly the best opportunity that they have.
Lethal and Kara, both of them are actually set up by that EMP, but are able to be healed up, even though there was a lot of damage coming out of that. Hades goes down after being pulsed. Slay just closes out the deal. Urki has to pull back yet again as White Noise finds Fees yet again. Fees going down quite often here, I must say. Saab not unable to get away from Sauna, and Ex-Oblivione have just bunkered in. It's 1 minute and 30, and the ult bank is not looking bad for the defenders either.
And once again, they did have the opportunity with the EMP, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out. The engagement just wasn't there quite yet. And Sauna getting those picks early on, as well as Lethal, have done an amazing job. These are really good DPS lineup. You have to be on the lookout for that.
Now moving in, Lethal looking to get that little bit of dynamite damage to, get that Bob a little bit quicker. Because a Bob on this point is, well, an extra player at that point, and it is just a great zoning tool. Now moving in, Choose Money Crew yet again, already a jump from Hades onto White Noise, has that Primal Rage set up. Hades looking for targets in the backline, is Discord Orb though, and it finds Lethal. That was very, very close. White Noise with their own Primal Rage gets a 10 away. Hades already off the map yet again. Choose Money Crew had to pull back. Ex-Oblivione have a massive lead, and it's just 30 seconds for Choose Money Crew to equalize this.
30 seconds remaining.
And yeah, like you mentioned, only 30 seconds. That Coalescence is going to help us an engaging tool. Best opportunity that they have, EMP that's going to be built. So a few ults that you do have, but you know Ex-Oblivione is going to play aggressive, trying to get those picks. And if they do get 1 or 2 picks right at the beginning, there's not going to be anything that Choose Money Crew is going to be able to do.
That's true. Transcendence is up. There's a Diva Bomb up. Bob is up, even though the hack came out there. Key is very close to an EMP, though, so this might not be 100% over. There's the EMP. Sauna is going very low, gets healed up, and that is the end of the hackening. That was just a bit underwhelming in terms of clutch EMPs, but there is nothing you can do when the healing just works one-to-one. Kumba with a great sound barrier though, extends this for a while. The overtime wick now touching down. There's 2 versus 2 on point. Sap going down, no one able to repush it. Ex-Oblivione take the 2-0 lead.
And a complete dominance from this team from beginning to end, just looking so good, knowing exactly what Choose Money Crew was going to bring and how to counter it. We saw it over and over again, and now this is a concerning point for Choose Money Crew. We saw their strategy coming with the Sombra, but it hasn't really worked out for them just yet. So a few changes need to be made. It doesn't seem like we see them working together. You would expect the dive to work together to try to make those jumps, get those kills. But Ex-Oblivione knows how to play around it, and it has been one of the most notorious winning factors for them.
No, you're absolutely right. Ex-Oblivione, what I like most is the way that Slay plays. Slay is dishing out the healing like he's supposed to do, but Slay is like a beacon to the rest of their team. What do I mean by that? You do see every time that there is a Discord orb on the target just dies, and knowing what target to Discord, rather than just finding the first target on your screen, but knowing what target to Discord and what target can actually be hit by the rest of your team, that shows a synergy that is just beautiful to see. Ex-Oblivione on their way to probably make this a 3-0 if I had to say it. No disrespect to Choose Money Crew in any way. No disrespect to the way that they've been playing. Kumba and Saab have done an amazing job. A10 and Hades trying to push that aggression in. But Ex-Oblivione's support lineup and White Noise are the reason why that just does not work up until this point.
And that's one of the things that we were talking about, how everyone in the Ex-Oblivione lineup looks amazing at certain times where you really are able to see them not only in the kill feed, but all the work that is going on there, all the micro players as well. I believe one of the strategies that Ex-Oblivione has, and I also find it interesting because it works around Slay, is that the dive that was going for Choose Money Crew is going to try to counter and kill the Zenith as soon as they can. So the Slay is working as a sort of bait. Everyone was jumping to him in the high ground, and we see Ex-Oblivione ready to jump into them as well and take the advantage. We saw this in the first point of Volskaya, and it just worked so well for them. There was only a point where there was absolutely nothing else they could do, but overall the reason why they were able to hold the defense like that was because everyone was spread out, and we saw Slay playing it very slow and knowing that he was going to get dove at any point, but just playing so aggressive for that.
Yeah, that's right. You give your opponent who plays the dive combination, you give them one target in Slay. Kara on that Mercy can be anywhere you want. If you lose your bait, quote unquote, during that fight, Kara comes back in, reses it up, and you turn the fight around. And that happened more than once. It happened, I think, 3 times over the course of Volskaya industry. So you're absolutely right in your analysis. We are getting Cloud back in, and we are moving on to Numbani. Now, we have seen that the dive can and will work on this setup. When you are Shoes Money Crew, how are you going about defending this?
More damage that needs to come through for the DPS. That Sombra, again, it doesn't seem like he's going to be the best pick for them. So seeing any other DPS that can put a lot of damage, even if we were to see a Pharah coming through, I believe that could work so much better for this team. That Sombra, even when the EMPs get a few hacks, meaning they get 3 gun, they get 4, the team is not capitalizing out of it. So if you're going to keep playing this hero, you need to make sure that everyone's playing together, target calling often, and getting the picks that you need to do to take the win there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. We are getting ready to load in on Numbani. Choose Money Crew have their work cut out for them because they are 2-0 in the behind. Ex-Oblivione have shown that they can both do a very aggressive push, but also do a very patient defense. And it is up to SMC and their fantastic lineup to crack that code. And I think if they're going to keep playing the way that they are with Froakie on the Sombra and Fees on, well, Tracer, sometimes a little bit of Reaper, they're going to not have enough damage. That sounds a bit weird, but that is mostly because Hades, as well as he tries to make some space, for some reason doesn't have the same DPS output as White Noise on the other side of the aisle. And I'm not entirely sure why that is. Would you like to give us a theory?
Yeah, in general, you know that if you're going to be playing the Reaper and that Sombra, you need to get really close to the enemy team. So you need to engage first. You need to play more aggressive first. And that's the thing that Shoes Money Crew was struggling with. On the other side, Ex-Oblivione was playing aggressive, was not only getting picks from up close, but also from the distance, having the Ashe as well being played and having the support as well being there for this hero. So that's the reason why they were doing so well overall. And it's just a matter of Overwatch and who is going to play more aggressive, who's going to take the advantage. If you have ultimates, how are you going to use them? And it's very difficult to coordinate all these things of your Shoes Money Crew. And that's why you do have to give them credits. They were doing a really good job, and it just wasn't enough quite there. But a lot of adaptation changes is the best opportunity that they have for Ex-Oblivione's DPS lineup. It just looks absolutely insane. It puts Shoes Money Crew in fear that they don't really know what to do from what we've seen. Now, I believe that coming into this next map, we are going to be seeing them making the changes necessary, trying to counter them, and just trying to make this comeback that's not going to be easy, but it's definitely possible.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Again, I'm trying to I'm trying to get a feel for the difference between Hades and White Noise. Actually, I see Hades jumping in just as aggressively as White Noise. I'm seeing Hades and White Noise basically having the exact same timing, having the exact same, more or less, way of going after their targets. But every time White Noise comes out on top, is that a healing difference, or is that just because Hades doesn't have the follow-up from the rest of its team? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, definitely a matter of follow-up into the dive. Usually when you're playing the dive, and it's sometimes teams have to work a lot on dive because it requires a lot of coordination going on for them. If the Winston's going to dive, you also need everyone else to be aware of the positioning, making sure that you're getting kills, that you're in the line of sight of your supports. So many things going on that makes it difficult, and this is the main struggle that we've seen coming for this team. But now we're getting ready for Numbani. Now it's a whole different story that we're going to be seeing. I do expect a lot of changes, a lot of improvements coming for Shoes Money Crew to see if they can make the comeback.
Well, we'll see. Numbani, of course, a map with a lot of high ground options. I said it in the last game when we loaded in. A lot of nooks and crannies to get some bit of a flanking in. And if you have a team like Shoes Money Crew, they are actually very good at that. At least historically, they're very good at that. Fees on the Tracer, and we see Urki loading on to the Pharah. So Urki and Kumba going on to a Far Mercy, maybe even see whether or not they can use that in a defensive lineup to keep away at least White Noise and Vestola from just trying to dive whatever comes their way. And look at that double bubble, Hades A10 on the Zarya and the Winston. So I'm happy. I'm really happy with the setup SMC has chosen for the defense.
Yeah, definitely, and they are making the changes that we're talking about. More damage is going to be coming through, and the fire actually that we mentioned that we want to see exactly what's going to be happening. So that's going to enable them to hold the point at least a little bit longer, put a lot of damage through for the DPS, and lethal, it seems like it will be playing the Doomfist, so a lot of risk. Now it goes into the Tracer. Okay, that looks so much better for them, and the opportunities that they have to dive and to take down the supports are out of nowhere increasing so much for them.
Now moving in, we already see Cloud in the backline looking at a hack for Hades as the rest of that team comes around, but the double bubble has already been activated. Hades has his own bubble, immediately gets helped by A10, and this is Ex-Oblivione pushing in. Urki gets onto Slay, that leaves them with a big deficit in healing on the side of Ex-Oblivione. Vestola and White Noise immediately get to feel that Urki is on a run, just looking to get something to kill and looking to not give up Numbani for this set of fees on lethal. Wins that Tracer game, and SMC in control of this. 2 minutes and 40 on the clock. That's a long time, but they have all the tools to hold it here, Triad.
And you can already see the difference between the composition that Shoes Money Crew was playing before and this composition, where they are finally able to play more aggressive. The Pharah doing so well, putting Ex-Oblivione in so much pressure to not get killed and to not get taken down.
Now Fees, good pulse bomb onto White Noise. Kumba gets Urki back up after he was being run down by Vestola on that Diva. And now SMC, they're looking like they expect an attack from all sides, but it is Ex-Oblivione who actually pull back at the end of the day.
And in the meantime, Cloud is having more difficulty trying to build that EMP. So this is where we can see Shoes Money Crew trying to play more aggressive, taking advantage of the situation, using that Barrage early on as well as that Valkyrie to advantage of.
And there's a hack. Urki is being grounded as White Noise is able to escape back to the rest of their team. Now there's a coalescence coming out. Slay wants to engage that in. There's a barrage from Urki that is unable to find anything due to a great bubble on the setup. Good stick from Feast. The White Noise has been sleeping and then goes down. Slay is reciprocating by getting Sap out of the picture. The capture is almost complete. Feast gets hacked out from trying to stall it. Ex-Oblivione back in the driver's seat, and it's 3 minutes and 44 on the clock.
And a really, really good fight for Ex-Oblivione there. Oh, and also the rest gets cancelled, so a more advantage that they're going to be taking. So many ults coming for this team. So once again, a huge advantage for them to take the victory, at least into the next fight. You want to push the payload at least into the corner before you engage again. And Shoes Money Crew in a lot of trouble. We're not really figuring out what to do right now.
Yeah, they don't seem to have the capacity or the confidence to actually go around that corner. But there it is, a Tobolstein. That's a Graviton Search right there. And now it is up to SMC to pull up on that. A10 is in trouble though as Cloud comes in from the side. White Noise with the Primal Rage goes after the rest of the backline. Cloud goes down immediately. Urki gets up onto White Noise. It looks as if Shoes Money Crew can actually take this back. No, it's Vestola. Nice double kill. Kumba and Slay both down. No more support for Ex-Oblivione. Urki, very low, actually finds the death to Kara there for a second. That is just very hard to swallow as Shoes Money Crew is still not able to get a set piece battle win and get control back over that payload.
And once again, huge credits to Ex-Oblivione. The fight was almost lost for them, but they were able to push the pace a little bit more, which is ideal situation for them. Now they're going to play aggressive. They want to get the second point, and holding second point in Numbani is not easy at all.
Go on, that's sound barrier. Both of them out. Both of the support ultimates now used by Ex-Oblivione. White Noise, though, cannot survive after being stuck. Froakie with a barrage fight slay, but is being fired out of the sky. Kara actually kills it with a melee. Just a drive-by bashing here from that Lucio. Cloud looking for more. Looking for that target to hack. Finds Fees, was actually looking for them there and is able to pick that up. White Noise still on the ball, now trying to make A10 leave that point here for a second so that they can cap point to the EMP. The EMP is big and that will just have them get point two as Festola and Lethal are able to set up on that. White Noise immediately makes more space. What a great slingshot that he pulls himself into. Lethal already at the spawn doors and saying hello to his counterpart.
And that was just a really good fight that we saw for Ex-Oblivione. The EMP coming halfway through the fight, and it just gave them the advantage necessary to take the victory there. Now they're pushing into last point. So many ults as well. That pulse one trying to get a few picks, but the pulse one isn't even necessary when you have it.
Oh, it's not necessary, but it was well stuck. Hades with the double kill on the other side there, but it will not be enough. Most of Shu's money crew just falling apart at this point. There it is, the primal rage from Hades trying to stall it out. 2 minutes on the clock, so a lot of time for Ex-Oblivione to push it just a few more meters. A10 holding back, waiting for the rest of the team. So is Hades, but White Noise jumping in there, firing off that little bit of shield. And Festola, great bomb, gets A10 out. Hades immediately follows into the underworld there as Lethal comes in from the sideline, gets Kumba out, and that is it. Ex-Oblivione complete round one. We're going for the flip, and it's 1 minute and 41 on the clock, which is extraordinarily high for Numbani.
Yeah, Ex-Oblivione just did such a good fight, especially at the end. They knew exactly what to play. Everyone target calling really well. It just seems like they know how to counter Shu's money crew's strategies that they come to. There are situations where they don't really seem to have that communication going on for them. For example, we saw that primal reach for the Winston, and it was just way too late into the fight where the rest of his team was getting killed. And sometimes you do want to use a primary run to try to hold the payload to make sure that it doesn't move, but the entire 6 stack that for Ex-Oblivione was countering him, taking him down right away, and it just didn't get as or any value at all like you'd expect this Winston and the primary rich to get. So making sure that you're with your team, or at least you're getting the supports next to you to keep you alive, is going to be essential, and it's just one of the basics that I need to take care of in this composition.
Yeah, that's true. But can I say something about the last round before I forget it? How cool was White Noise's ball? I like a good Wrecking Ball play. I'm sorry, I play Reinhardt and Wrecking Ball more or less exclusively. So whenever I see a Wrecking Ball in a game like this, I get giddy like a schoolgirl. This is fantastic. Now, Shu's money crew coming out of the gate. Feast and Froakie are ready to set it up. Feast on the Tracer. Froakie most likely just on that Symmetra to get the rest of the team a little bit of an edge. Yep, swaps over to a Genji. Okay, this is going to be an interesting push as Hades and A10 take that front line on their double bubble yet again. The Zarya and the Winston. Sap and Kumba this time on the Ana and the Brigitte, which complements the Genji and Sombra quite well, I must say. So I'm looking forward to see how this plays out.
Definitely engaging and making sure that your Genji is able to get value out of this kit is so important into the composition that they decide to run. If not, they're going to make the swaps so early on. If not, it's not going to get value.
Ooh, Froakie gets slept there by Slay. That was beautifully played up on there. Lethal and Cloud on the Torbjorn, and the Ashe have bunkered themselves in up on that high ground. So Shu's money crew have their work cut out for them, trying to push into that. Lethal and Festola make sure that they know that. Lethal, nice double kill. He was complaining about cold hands, but no one can tell me that this man isn't warmed up.
And once again, you need to make sure that you're enabling your Genji for success. If not, then there's going to be a lot of time wasted trying to get this blade and this Nano blade ideally that you want to have running for you. So far, a lot of damage coming through, the Genji trying to build ult, which is ideally how you're going to get the point where everyone's so spread out that it's not going to be easy.
Oh, Bob coming in from Lethal there. Immediately gets up onto Kumba. So that means Ex-Oblivione, this bunker, double high ground composition rather with the two jumpy tanks is working out quite well for them. It's 2 minutes on the clock, and that means SMC, they are looking to finally at least get that Nano Blade unlocked, maybe even in combination with the EMP, just to get this closed out, because in a normal way they won't. And there it is, the blade comes out from Urki, already finds Slate. Diva Bomb is coming in. It means Urki has to pull back. Festola plays that very well as Slate is actually being rested by Kara, and Kara immediately follows up with a kill on Fizz. Ex-Oblivione are able to take that blade and turn it into something beautiful on the back of the bomb that Festola used in order to save her own life, essentially.
Yeah, and that's where you see Shizumani Crew start to lose their momentum. Unfortunately, the best opportunity that they have, and they were definitely playing for the Nano Blade that just didn't work as well as they wanted it to. No tick so far on the point, and this is a really scary territory. Only 1 minute left for them. They're going to be having that EMP, so once again, yet another opportunity if they also decide to engage with the rally.
Now 56 seconds on the clock. White Noise is just spy checking a little bit, making sure that FaZe does not have a leg to stand on, or at least not an approach to go on. And there is a Molten Core up on that high ground bit, making sure that Choose Money Crew are at least a little bit deterred to move in. Now Vestola in a fight versus Hades, helped out by White Noise, and needs to pull back because Choose Money Crew are taking the scenic route all the way from that long high ground, very close to a bomb. Festola could actually end it if that bomb gets some value over there, but let's see whether or not they're actually going to bowl it in. 15 seconds to go, and both teams are now on the wire. Ex-Oblivione playing this very, very patiently. Though Slay goes down, so does the turret there. And now it's time to finish it in. The the hack on White Noise is huge, and this means that Zarb has the opportunity to close out White Noise. Hades with another kill onto Cloud. The overtime is still running. It is 3 people on the payload. The third is already being capped, and it looks as if Ex-Oblivione are giving this away just last second. That's got to hurt.
Yeah, ideally, you just wanted to hold this for as long as you can, but a lot of aggression coming from Shizumani Crew is what gives them the payload. Now they will be able to move it and to play a little bit more aggressive. So many ults that were used, but one of them that wasn't used was actually the blade coming through. So I'm curious if we're going to be seeing this blade, or if we're going to wait for the Ana to build the Nano as well, because we know this combo is going to be essential. But once again, a lot of time that was spent, so not the best situation, but if you can get to move the payload, that's more than you can ask of your Shizumani Crew.
Now moving in this time with an Echo on FaZe. They tried to switch it up in the hope that a little bit of long-range engagement might help them push this payload a little faster. Now, there's a Genji Blade. Once again, Lethal already going down, and Urki is looking for more targets. Kara goes down, Cloud goes down. White Noise has been picked up by A10 in the meantime, and Urki is still in a fight with Festola up on that high ground. Festola is not sure if they should move it in. Urki cannot move further onto Slay, but that's not really a problem, as this was a very fast point to cap. 2 minutes and 40 on the clock, and we are not done yet, ladies and gentlemen.
And this is the blade that we were expecting from this. Genji gets 3 and pushes everyone to the back for Ex-Oblivione. Now, this is once again a scary territory for them coming through. They're going to be using the Molten Core as well to create some space while everyone comes back and regroups. But once again, just have to play very, very passive to make sure you're not getting killed.
That's right. Now, FaZe gets low due to that Molten Core. Actually has to fly through it in a hope of getting a better angle. Key on the back line and tries to get some deflect damage going, but I mean, Ex-Oblivione, like all the teams up this high up in there, have already seen a deflecting Genji at some point, so they won't just be shooting in that willy-nilly. Good copy there. Feast now on the Winston is unable to get the Primal Rage done. Needs to pull out as Cloud and Lethal just fire pelt shots into Shoes Money Crew as they come around that final corner. It is still 1 minute and 40 on the clock, but Shoes Money Crew now really have their work cut out for them because this is infamously hard to push.
Yeah, especially with those two tank ults are going for Ex-Oblivione. They're going to play them to engage. Ideally, that Primal Rage should get everyone to the back and ideally also get a few kills. So it's looking really good. The main concern for them is to watch for Erky's Blade coming through into the next fight. This is the best win advantage that Shoes Money Crew can have into the fight.
Yeah, and if they combine it with either A10 or Hades' ultimate, that could just make for a nice combo. However, White Noise and Vestola have their ultimates, and so have Slay and Kara. So a lot of support and a lot of hit points up on the board. White Noise goes in, but so does Erky with that blade. Now the Molten Core is out. Erky, very low on hit points, is unable to set it up. The Tobalstein does not do anything but get White Noise away from the rest of the team. Is that going to be enough? We will see. Slay still has that ultimate. Kara already fired up that Valkyrie. Shoes Money Crew still near that point. A10 goes down though. 30 seconds on the clock. And Shoes Money Crew had to pull back yet again after what seemed to be an all-out Hail Mary with a lot of ultimates.
Yeah, 4 ultimates actually were used for the side of Ex-Oblivione. They needed to win that fight. They were struggling so much, but finally only 10 seconds left, so they might just be able to do this with Bob available.
Hades now on the ball. He needs to get closer to that point. Knows that, but there's a Bob coming out. Lethal firing it in. Cloud already very close to setting up another Molten Core. It charges so fast when you have just these long sightlines. White Noise finds in onto Hades. The overtime wick is now running in. Lethal, good shot onto A10. Gets them out of the tin can right there. And Cloud's Molten Core is up there and gets A10 cooking yet again. White Noise kills the final member of SMC, and not being able to touch his Hades, Ex-Oblivione take the series 3-0.
And if you're a fan of Ex-Oblivione, that's exactly what you're expecting from them. They do perform really, really good, especially with this two new people that they got in the team is going to be really good. It definitely seems like it's working out for them, so they're looking just as strong as you would want them to, and you feel confident coming into the future matches.
You do. As Ex-Oblivione, that gives you exactly that ego boost that you need, that little bit of extra zing that you were looking for, and especially in the early rounds of Contenders trials, that is worth its weight in gold. That being said, Shoes Money Crew did not play a bad match. It is just that they didn't feel completely, in sync with themselves, and that, combined with this very patient, methodical approach that we've seen from Ex-Oblivione, is just beautiful. Now we are going to get you an interview with someone in Ex-Oblivione, of course. While we set that up, please don't go anywhere, because I am sure that there is a lot to talk about after this match. Stay tuned. And we are back, here on the Overwatch Contenders Trials in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. My name is Yolomancer, with me is Dryad, and also with me from Ex-Oblivione is none other than our friend White Noise. White Noise, welcome.
Hello.
So you had an absolute great game, especially you personally being able to match Hades pace by pace and outpace him in some places. Tell us about the match. What were your impressions of this match?
I mean, we have like really new DPS players, so we don't really have many set comps. Lots of people also have tryouts for our teams, so it's hard to like have everyone in scrims at the same time. But we figured out comps we think are decent, and we just pick whatever we think is good, and it seemed to go pretty well.
Yeah, it definitely works so well for you, and I like that you mentioned those new pickups that you have. It just seems like they knew exactly what to do, and you were talking about a lot about how the communication was going. How is the synergy that you feel with this teammate? You definitely look strong, especially going against Shizumani crew. Were you concerned coming into this matchup, having new players that maybe don't have as much experience with the team, or were you just confident that you could win against this team?
I mean, we know that we're just by far the best team in our bracket, so we're pretty confident in any game that we go into. We weren't scared at all before this match, and we're just having fun as we play, not taking it too seriously, and just having a good time.
That is absolutely great to hear. Now, I have complimented before your teammate Slay, especially on a very, very patient way of playing that Zenyatta. Are you consciously using him as bait, or is that just happening?
Yeah, I mean, the way our comp kind of works is we use Slay as bait, they jump Slay, and then we Discord and kill them. It's sort of just like a trap, I guess. And it's been going pretty well. Yeah.
That absolutely makes sense. Looking at the future for the next couple of matches, is there any team in your bracket or in the entirety of the EMEA Contenders Trials that worries you?
I mean, I didn't really know most of the teams that are in our brackets. I think we play Hot Bath, and they're a pretty weird team. But I don't know the other teams that we have to play. I don't remember. But I think we have the easy side of the brackets. I think like Yab and Angry Titans and all of those teams are on the other side. I'm pretty sure.
That's true. Yeah, that is pretty right. Yeah, Hot Bath is a team that is a bit contentious. We've heard that before off stream as well. Where you don't really know what they're going to be running. It's not as bad as Avoided is, of course.
No.
But you're going to have a lot of fun with those guys. So looking forward to that. So Dryad, do you have any more questions for our guests?
Yeah, one last question. So coming into the meta, that it seems like teams are still trying to figure out. We've seen a lot of different ideas. Do you guys play your most comfortable picks, or do you try to adapt to the meta? Do you try to counter it? What's the best strategy that works for you?
I think we play to our strengths a lot. Like we have 3 DPS players, obviously, so we like to play a lot of Tracer because we think Sano's the best Tracer in Europe, and then we'll have like Cloud on the Pharaoh or the Echo and Lethal on the Ashe or whatever, and we just play like the comps that suit us. Like, and we also know Slay is like a really strong Zen, so we like to play Zen comps a lot as well. And it seems to go pretty well.
Absolutely makes sense, and your track record proves that it absolutely does as well. And you can tell Sorna that I also think that he is the best Tracer in Europe. So with that being said, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for the interview. And to the ladies and gentlemen out there, I'm afraid that was our programming for today. Join us tomorrow when we have another couple of really good games for you, namely Young and Beautiful versus The Ultimate and Angry Titan versus Ad Astra Perispera. So yeah, that was it for me right now. I am the Olimancer. With me was the wonderful Dryad and of course our friend White Noise. We will see you tomorrow, and remember, support Tier 2 and the trials as well.